Welcome back to Harama for what is day 3 of pre-season testing for the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. We're all set to go then for what is going to be an absolutely cracking championship. Fingers crossed it's going to be great as the green light is on and the cars are out on the circuit for test session 4 and another 3 hours on the clock. We are going to throw it back to Mazzano and round 6 of season 10 of ABB FIA Formula E. And then throughout the day, we'll be updates as well from the FE bar that was on last night. And then Jack Pickering's going to be out on the circuit, giving us all the updates before the end of the session. Let's send it back then to round 6 of season 10. What will happen in the home of Valentino Rossi? This part of the world is mad on motorcycles, but today the world circuit, Marco Simoncelli swaps 2 for 4 and swaps the 1000cc stroke engine to electric power. Welcome to the first ever Mazzano E-Prix. It's a double header. We came here expecting attack charge, recharge racing and a giant leap into the unknown. Unfortunately, around this 3.381 kilometre modified circuit, it looks like we're going to see something we've already seen twice before. A peloton-style event. Who is going to want to lead? Who's going to want to save energy? 28 laps ahead of us today. Tomorrow, 26 laps. But add in possibilities of safety cars and the added laps there. Also add in red flag predictions. Also add in as well the unpredictability of the attack mode and what they want to do. Here's your starting grid then from back to front. Jake Hughes with a penalty for a unarmed fire extinguisher is alongside Sergio Sete Camaro on row 11. Row 10 sees Jeruvala alongside De Vries. Row 9 sees Stoffel Van Dorn in 18th. Alongside him is Jake Dennis in 17th. 8th row sees Lucas de Grassi 16th and Dan Tinctum starting 15th. Row 7 sees Antonio Felix da Costa in 14th, Eduardo Mortara starting in 13th place as well. And then moving on to row 6, 12th for Sasha Fenestraz and 11th for Norman Nato. Row 5 and 10th is Robin Frines and Sebastian Webby alongside him. The two Envisions make up that 5th row. Row 4 sees Cassidy start in 8th and Gunther start in 7th position at the start of the duels. And then making his way through the back of the grid, Ed Hunter's got the cars in position. 6th on the grid as well. On the 3rd row, see Sam Bird. 5th on the grid, that's Oliver Rowland on the 3rd row. 2nd row of the grid, Nico Muller starts in 4th position after Jake Hughes' disqualification from qualifying. Pascal Verlaine, the championship leader, he starts 3rd on the grid for the Tag Heuer Porsche. Watch out for the Porsche powertrains. They've got better durability. Fast all weekend. Can he be fast here in the race? Starting on the racing line is Jean-Noël Verne on row 1 in 2nd. But it's Mitch Evans who surprised everybody and got pole position in qualifying, which was quite surprising. Alongside me is Ed Hunter and Jess Ball. And as Ed gets his camera ready, Jess, welcome. What are you expecting ahead of today's race? You've got about 10 seconds.
Well, it's going to be interesting heading towards the first corner. We could see quite a few moves being made for the first time that we wouldn't expect, and it gives us an eye-opener what's going to happen for the rest of the weekend. But Mitch Evans on pole and Verne alongside. Let's do this, Josh.
Ed, they're not really waking up the tyres, so we're going to go for an instant start. What do you think? A peloton race or a clean race?
I think those, if you're Mitch Evans, for example, you might be forced into leading a couple of laps. But for someone like Nico Müller, big opportunity here, starting in the top 4. I actually am going to go Nico Müller for the podium today. I think that's my big prediction, but I think Oliver Rowland's probably going to win the Nissan.
It's only a 49-metre start-finish line offset.
Here we go then, green flag in the back, all eyes to the lights. For the first time, we are ready to go here in Mazzano. Only 38% say that Mitch Evans are going to win on the predictor vote. We'll see what happens. 28 laps and Magic Mazzano. It's time to have some mayhem. All 5 lights, come on, 5 on. And it's blast off in Mazzano. It's a good start for the Porsches. Great start from Nico Müller on the inside line. And immediately we saw as well Nato getting swamped out. Jake Dennis swamps back as well. McLaren of Birds dropped back as well to about 9th position. Terrible start from him. He's going to gain up 2 places around the outside. Evans leads. Verne second. Verlaine, Muller, Gunther, Cassidy. Cassidy up into third place. Great start from him from 8th on the grid edge, as they're still, as we predicted, peloton racing as we come into the braking zones at the back of the track at turn 7.
Yeah, and this is exactly what Nick Cassidy said he needed to do to help his teammate. So they've all sort of moved aside for him as we're seeing them start to go 3 wide down the straight here. And this is where they're all trying to draft each other to save energy. It's like Buemi trying to go up the inside of everyone.
Buemi on the inside line trying to get through. They're side by side, and there's going to be contact at this part of the track if they're not careful. They're diving everywhere, and already Mortara's stopped.
Mortara's gone.
Well, Mortara had a problem with his power battery supply the other day, and now he's got it again. 8:21 and it's stopped, so that is out. That might be a safety car. We'll have a look. He's stopped. Exit turn 5. Buemi off the track. Buemi takes the lead in the penultimate corner. Evans down into second position, and up into 4th goes Jean-Eric Verne. They're all changing places. They come out the last corner. It's mayhem here. That's what we've got as we head down against turn 1. Everyone lifting off energy to turn the first corner. Buemi's going to have the lead in towards turn 1 though. Here comes Friends round the outside. Verne's in position 2, and they're doing it just exactly like in Portland, just lifting and coasting. Nobody wants to lead.
Nobody wants sneak attack, otherwise they're not going to get the toe. But don't forget the Envision started 9th and 10th from the grid, and Buemi's P1 at the moment. So Evans just playing it. So Cassidy doing well as well. But Verne dropped to 5th as we got race control.
Nothing happened from them. Nothing happened. So, green flag, that's what I've heard in my ears. As right round the outside, that's going to be Verline. Verline coming in alongside Evans. He's come up into position as well. Friends is further back. Look at the McLaren of Sam Bird looking at the inside. The Maserati of Gunther's going through, and at the inside goes Verne. And is that Acosta coming up into second position? Yes! And now third. So it's all changed, and Verline's going to take the lead of the race. Buemi's lifted off massively coming out of the corner. Look at Verline, he's properly gone for it as we come into turn 9 and 10, into the braking zone. And again, at the inside, the moves go, and Verline leads the race.
Yeah, I wondered if Buemi wanted to lead for as long as he did, Josh. He's quite sensibly backed out to try and save some energy there, because I thought Buemi was trying to make a break for it much too early in the race. But look at behind. He's just shifting constantly 3 wide through the final corner between Cassidy, Gunther and Bird.
And it's 7 wide on the straight, though, on the grass. It's towards turn 1. At the inside goes the Maserati of Gunther. Buemi squeezed out, and into the lead of the race goes Cassidy. What is going on? McLaren nearly in the wall of Bird as they come through. Buemi shuts the front door of Da Costa. This is madness. Absolute madness.
I have to say, this is a very good race so far. One of the races of the season. 7 wide into turn 1. You probably weren't expecting that. And Buemi's dropped into 5th. All of this. There's been a change in the lead every lap so far as we head towards the second sector.
Gunther hit the back of Cassidy. A little bit of wing damage then for the Maserati of Gunther. You can see it just starting to flap. Verne's got the inside line. Look at them lifting into the chicane. And there goes Buemi passing Verline. But there goes Da Costa right around the outside. That's going to be Buemi not paying attention if they're not careful. He just about clips the wall. Buemi gets a little shove onto the grass. Da Costa goes further back. And Gunther now takes second position. And now they lift to the back half of the track. This is stupid. This track was only added because they were supposed to have the attack charge. Without the attack charge, we're in trouble. Into attack mode goes Cassidy, and Gunther into the lead of the race goes I think everyone's taking attack mode, and Verne leads. That's who's leading the race. Jean-Eric Verne leads a lap. Unbelievable racing.
Yeah, it's all so tactical though at the moment, isn't it? With it looks like Cassidy Gunther trying to get rid of the attack mode early on. But it could potentially be more handy here as they all try and squeeze their way past Buemi. Bird sneaking through as well. When they're running so wide through the first couple of corners, it's an accident waiting to happen, really. Honest Fenestraz lost a whole load of places, drops to 16th position.
Everyone who's taken attack mode has taken option 1, which was 2 minutes to begin with, and that's to use then 6 minutes later on. Da Costa passes Buemi. He's dropped down to 6th. As we see here, attack mode is an extra power of 1 second per lap. There's the damage to the back of, I want to say, Cassidy's car in the Jaguar. He got run into, as I said, by Gunther.
Tail light flapping, yeah.
And everyone just dropping back. Listen to the engine, you can see the battery power. You can literally hear it regenerating of energy. Da Costa from 5th to 2nd. Da Costa's done. There he is. He's into second place now. This is insanity.
Who would have thought it, Josh?
Oh, Jess, this is unbelievable stuff. And this is Peloton race. We've got another one tomorrow as well. And this is just, who's that? That's Vern taking attack mode. Da Costa takes the lead of the race. Roland Jaruvla coming in as well. How did they know they were coming? That's the question. They must have armed it just before and it automatically puts the graphic on. 3 lead changes in 4 laps. Cassidy also a leader as Verline touching the side of Gunther coming across the start line down towards turn number 1. Lap 5 and they're all Peloton racing once again and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide into the first corner. Da Costa keeps it. Porsche take 1, 2, Verline in the lead ahead of Da Costa. There's the 2 Envisions coming through with one of the McLarens of Bird. Buemi ahead in 7th, Bird 8th, Van Dorn 9th, Freins down to 10th as they all filter in. It's 3 wide as the 2 Jaguars side by side there with Sebastian Buemi. Buemi's going to try and huck in on the inside line. It didn't work out. Roland's got 1 minute 15 left of attack mode, but the 2 Porsches now at the front. They want to have an attack and just lift and coast, have their race together. Vern battling. He's got attack mode, but he's got less energy to save. Evans is right there just behind. It's just like Poland again. I can't imagine what Jack Pickering and Giamano are thinking of this right now. They don't like these type of races. And look, they're all lifting and coasting. That contact off back. That was bad. That's one of the DS Penske's who've got wing damage, and someone's got damage as well. It's Cassidy wing damage.
Cassidy's got wing damage.
Cassidy's got wing damage.
He made contact with Jordan Vern.
And Vern had wing damage too. So Cassidy's got wing damage. Vern's got wing damage. The 2 have been at the front.
Vern looks okay.
Let's have a look as Verline takes it. I think one of the McLarens had it too. I swear I saw a McLaren with wing damage, and it must have been Sam Bird because he was further up.
That's going to go under Cassidy's car.
And they've called him into the pit lane.
Against the wheel. He's got to come in.
So, yeah.
See that? He moved on me on the back straight, and then he put me straight on the wall.
Yeah, so there's the McLaren. So that is Sam Bird. There's Jake Hughes. The McLarens look okay, so I'm convinced it was Cassidy and Vern who had problems. We couldn't see with the camera angle on the lighter orange liveries to see there was a problem, but yeah, it was Cassidy who had a broken front wing. He's into the pits, and that's bad news for the Jaguar, who was doing so well in the championship. There was another move going on further back as up into 2nd and 3rd. Bird now takes 3rd. Verline Roland dropped to 4th and 5th. Da Costa goes to 2nd. Evans takes 7th. Gunther down to 8th. Freins up into 10th. Dennis into 11th, and Hughes down into 12th position as Dennis has 3 minutes of time, so he's got a 4-4 duration as we see a replay of it, Ed and Jess, and let's take a look into the chicane.
Now, this is where the contact was made with Vern, and that was just a slight contact, but so big an impact, and we can see it on the onboard.
There's another one with, there is a McLaren with wing damage then, because that contact happened after the fact. We saw a McLaren coming into the braking zone with wing damage, so which one is it? It's Bird, I think it's got to be Bird. But we saw another contact down the straightaway before the braking zone, didn't we?
Yeah, it was as we see, there we go, Bird and looks like Da Costa going into attack mode, so that makes it, yes, Penske controlling the front of the field now rather than Porsche. With Verline, has dropped all the way down to 18th, actually.
Verline's got wing damage.
And I think Verline's lost his front wing.
Verline's got front wing damage.
So this is really survival at the moment, as we see, that looks like Buemi running off track.
So Pascal Verline.
In the lead.
Oh, and there's contact everywhere to turn 1.
Miss this race. My frontal is off.
So, yeah, but we haven't seen that, but Verline, the championship leader, has lost his front wing. He's out of contention. Peloton-style racing's not working. So much for this race being a litmus test for the future races. As I said, we should have had attack charge here. We should have had the pit stops. This Peloton race should not be happening. It is happening because FIA Formula E can't get their act together with the attack charge. They've brought us to a circuit that doesn't work, and now we're having this, and it's having major repercussions in the championship. This is Verline, and how he lost his front wing. He's on the inside line of the track. Let's take a look at it.
That is narrow.
There, he's run over the back. Oh, and that's
he's
how.
Hit the back of Vern, hasn't he?
And that's how.
And Vern's lost his little rear winglets.
So that's a second contact for Vern. That's coming out of turn 7, lifting and coasting. This race, in my opinion, should be stopped because someone's going to get killed out here. Honestly, that was right in the middle of the pack.
That was almost a big accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Someone is going to get seriously hurt.
It's the closing speed, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the closing speed.
No one wants to win.
I think they do. They're thinking about the end of the race. That's the problem. They're all trying to save as much energy as possible as Vern's winglet falls off and then just falls into the pack. Hopefully that doesn't get collected too much onto anyone's tyres. But again, they're trying to go 2 and 3 wide into turn 1. And I think it's two things. It's the track and it's the fragileness of the front wing, really. Because Misano, I think everyone knows we would have preferred to go to Rome this season, but that wasn't possible for a variety of reasons. And as we see, still squabbling going down the pack. I think that's Gunther trying to defend position from Roland. So, as I said, it's really a matter of survival. And once more, like in Sao Paulo, it's Bird that's leading and just sort of hoping for a safety car, I think, at the present moment.
Bird, that was the last Peloton-style race we had in Sao Paulo. Bird took the win there as well. He saved the most amount of energy, did a fantastic move on the last lap. But Stoffel Van Dorn's going to go lay on the brakes on the inside line. Look at that, 3 wide into the braking zone. The 2 Pienskis trying to force their way through. Vern is going to really punch it out to Bird, isn't he? And round the outside, Evans into braking zone as well. And they're lifting and coasting through what is the fastest part of the track. Coming through turn 10 and 11 into the braking zone. They're all lifting up. Into attack mode goes Sam Bird. And that takes him for another 6 minutes. That's his second attack charge of this race. And more. Look at that. Vern has practically got a knife flying off his back with that winglet flying around. And this is just insanity racing. Vern and Verline under investigation as they're side by side across the line. Van Dorn with 15 seconds left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide as they come into that first corner. Van Dorn will hold on, but Evans has taken the lead. He cut the corner at turn 2. Evans hits the front. But how much does he want to be there? There's damage to Jake Dennis as well. Another championship contender with front wing damage. He's got a little punt in between there as well. Let's take a look how that happened. This is Nico Muller into the chicane. And how's it?
Again, it's so
Blamey and
nice.
Dennis ahead of him.
Go on, Jess.
Sorry, Ed was speaking. Sorry.
No, I'm done.
It was just so now that part of the track. People are just trying to go for moves. It just doesn't work. The lifting and coasting does not work. You want to be playing this effectively, and it's not. And it's going to make for moves like this, which is, again, very tight.
That's again Roland getting shuffled back. Vern goes through. Fenestras has just jumped from 19th to 13th in one corner at that chicane. That's insane. And they haven't all taken attack mode either.
Someone's just taken his.
Evans in
That
front.
is...
Evans.
Someone miss it?
Evans, did he take it? Evans missed it. No, he's got it. 2 minutes, right at the top. I was looking at the same thing.
Yeah, I was panicking then because I was looking at the timings and the timings are messed up on my screen. But
yeah, because now we've got Evans down to 3rd position. Again, 4 wide into the first corner. Van Dorn leads to Costa 2nd. Evans fighting on the outside line. Coming on the inside, Ollie Roland. Well, we said that Roland might do that. Roland started, where did Roland start this race? P5. He's now up in, well, he's still P4, but he is right there in contention for an opportunity for Nissan here, but it's the Porsche powertrains that have got the best regen power. Vern, Buemi, Bird up. Frines, Roland, Gunther down as they come through and all try and go through. Look at this, 24 overtakes already in this race from Da Costa and from Van Dorn. Buemi, Gunther 21, Hughes on 19. Hughes up into 11th place. He started the race at the back. He's made 19 overtakes. That doesn't tell you how crazy this race is. I don't know what will, as Vern's front wing is flapping around quicker as well like a kite. And now they're all lifting off into the braking zone. Into the lead of the race goes Mitch Evans. Stoffel Van Dorn goes to 2nd. Da Costa goes down to 3rd. Vern goes up to 4th position as well. And that's put Roland down to 8th place as he was lifting and coasting. Look at the vision of Buemi trying to go right round the outside of everyone. As now, Vern really lifting as we go to the inside. Da Costa trying to get through there, getting ahead of Van Dorn. And off the track, Bird punches Vern off it as they come 3 wide into the last 2 corners. And contact again for Vern. Oh,
yeah, Vern's car looking particularly badly beaten up.
Off Bird! Bird gets sent wide by the battling Da Costa and Vern. And the 2 DS Penske side by side. Look at that! Vern's practically put them on easy. Oh, Ed, go on.
Yeah, sorry, my picture keeps breaking up, so it's a little bit hard to commentate. But yeah, Jev with that rear winglet, I think it's fully fallen off now, but it was hanging by a cable for quite a lot of that. So we see Gunther getting pushed a little bit wide by that's Costa and Dennis, I think, ahead of him.
Let me fix the picture for you so it's all working.
Race control.
Go on, what is it? I'm just fixing the picture for you.
Race control, John at Verne and Buemi moving under braking, noted.
So they have noted that incident. I thought they might.
Go.
Yeah, go on.
Evan's trying to go side by side with Bird, and it's very difficult to sort of keep track of where everyone is in this race. It's really the energy percentage that's more important, as we see there Verne retaking the lead then from that looks like the Costa just behind then.
Yep.
So I think with all the energy saving, Verline and Cassidy might be able to catch back up to the pack, but it is a bit of a long shot here. If you lose your front wing, it is a huge, huge setback in this race, essentially. You can't even really see them at the back of the field. You're going to see the two ERTs. But yeah, everyone's just desperately trying to avoid each other. And I wonder when they're getting the attack modes out of the way as Bird goes for the outside then of John-Eric Verne at the final corner.
Oh, he's gone wide.
And that's going to land through to save energy. So Verne lifting, Bird hits the front again. I've given up trying to track this race, the amount of lead changes we've had. I think I'm going to need more than 22 sheets of paper. I'll wait and print it out later on to tell you how many lead changes we've had. It's just like Portland last year. Sort of give up after a while.
Stephen Lane there.
Yeah. Oh, and again on the inside line.
Stephen Lane, because he lost the bet.
Yeah.
To dye his hair blonde. As look, again, DaCosta up the inside of Jev, his old teammate. And I wonder how much of Jev's car is going to be left intact. Luckily, he's still got the front wing, which is the key bit. Luckily, the rear winglets don't do a whole lot. Dennis has somehow survived all the argy-bargy to get up to 4th, which is impressive, given where he started. But that rear tail light is dangling all over the place, and he's sort of using it to try and ward off all the evil spirits behind, I guess.
In their absolute craziness as well. Omi and Josh Tiao in the background. They're just having a chance to speak. Yeah, there's contact again into the chicane. As Buemi gets forced out, Friends gets forced out, loses out 2 places, and Bird hits the front again, and Bird's got damaged front wing. Bird's got a little nose cone damage.
I think he wasn't expecting that.
This feels a bit early, Sam. Feels a bit early for us.
Yeah, don't go to the front. It's.
I just wanted to get out of the mess. Just for a little bit.
We've got one of the...
Roland.
Oh,
sorry, it's all right. Yeah, Roland, I think. Takes attack charge mode.
Yeah,
sorry.
it was one of Nissan's taken out attack mode. No, it's not attack charge. Well, I wish it was attack charge.
I wish it was.
But is it going to happen?
No. Oh, we wouldn't be having this mess otherwise. This isn't a race. Portland was different because it was new, and it was exciting because it was side-by-side drama, and they had to do it for a couple of laps. This isn't fun. This is getting dangerous. Mazzano is not the type of circuit you can do this at because it's so fast. Portland has braking points, but Mazzano, if you get it wrong here, it hurts, trust me. And there's Mortara's car still parked at the side of the track. He was out of the race. Bird leads from DaCosta, Verne, Buemi, Dennis, the top 5, as you all just sort of wait for it to change every 30 seconds. Well, later on today, we've got the Grand National here in the UK, the horse racing at Aintree. That lead changes around about 100 times during an event. Here, it's exactly the same. It's like we're watching the Formula E Grand National. As getting sent back was Verne. DaCosta takes up into second position again. Maserati on the grass there as well. They're home E-Prix. And NATO's dropped to 14th place. And breathe.
I don't think the horses at the Grand National let each other through to save energy, though. So, big dive from Gunther there.
And they're coming round to the final furlong. Who's going to have the advantage here, then? Let's hear from Jake Dennis as they all lift and coast.
To be activated inside the top 4.
Contact.
You're asking about attack mode,
Not yet.
Dennis?
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Buemi, 1:24.705, fastest lap of the race. Don't want to be doing that there, Sebastian. You'll be losing too much energy. It's a long old race. We're halfway in whatever this is in the Mazzano E-Prix. I can't really call it a race.
DaCosta doing very well on energy. Look, 56.
Oh, yeah.
He's got 3% more than Buemi ahead of him.
How on earth has he done that? That's amazing stuff. And I think Roland's done the same, but he's now on attack charge. Has DaCosta got another one left? Buemi, I don't think he's taken them all, but they've got to have to save it. Friends is up. So both.
Lead.
Do you remember do you remember back in when they were known back in the old days of Envision as well? They were never great at power saving, and again they're still struggling out there. They're the worst on the grid right now because Friends is down at 52% of energy. Yes, we're at half distance, but anything can happen in the next 20 minutes. Into the braking zone for the chicane. Everyone jumping over. 5-second time penalty for Jean-Eric Verne for causing a collision. There's no pit stops in this race, so Verne has a 5-second. Basically, the field is currently separated by 5 seconds. That's him put right to the back. Say again. 5-second time penalty for Cassidy for causing a... No, hang on a minute. Never mind. That's changed on the timing monitor. I was going to say, I was about to
I was going
interrupt
to
myself.
say,
Yeah.
it wasn't Cassidy's
Contact!
fault.
Up in the air! Over
Whoa!
the sausage curb! Gunther getting caught! How is he okay? He got launched on the sausage curb! Flying up into the wall! How did he not crash out dramatically? That's impressive!
It's like his
and
car was
Evans
giving
ran
him
the outside.
wings.
I hope he's okay, because that would have hurt. I really... Abby Eaton broke her back with that. I hope he's okay, and I hope the car's okay. That's nasty. He looks okay to me, and it looks okay. But that was a nasty one. That was a full Mark Webber fly. Get rid of these
It's
sausage
like it's
curbs.
giving him wings, Josh.
Take a look at it then, Jess. You've been complaining about it all weekend long. Perfect camera. Oh.
Oh, it's not. Oh, forget this. It's not the sausage curb, is it?
He gets pushed wide here, I think, by Evans.
Yeah, look, yeah, there's Evan, and there's
No
the...
blamey, sorry.
Yeah, sausage curbs, Jess.
Oh, it is. Oh, for good.
Double.
Right,
Double
that's
sausage
it.
curb.
Sausage curb should be banned from single seaters. End of. I just had enough. It's been affecting someone every session. Get rid of it right now.
Gunther might be in a wall for his own in a minute. He might be upside down. That was so close, coming through the chicane and into the braking zone as Evans takes attack mode and Vern takes the lead. Ed.
Oh my
Thought
goodness.
Van Dorn was losing his front wing for sure there, and then I thought Dennis was going to get pushed off track. Somehow, it's like a sort of ballet on ice at the moment. They're all desperately trying to just avoid each other and stay on track while using as little energy as possible.
I have no idea if this is a race or not, or... wow.
ballet.
Or if it's just like a parade or something, or like say you go in the lead, you go in the lead.
We've
The
got a
British
swimming
queue,
pool. Yeah, we've got a swimming pool here. Can it be Swan Lake?
Or Josh, the M25.
Yeah, at Russia. Give us a second. There'll be a northerner down with a tyre line out the window, smashing windmills. I say that as a northerner, so I can get away with it. Loads of drama coming through here, and now everyone. Then look at Roland. He's in third position and going on the attack here. And everyone lifting and coasting. Evans going to lift off. Roland might fancy it. No, he's lifting off too. Vern's going to make it a sandwich on the curb. Again goes Gunther. Up the inside goes Van Dorn. Takes fifth position away from Gunther. So that changed as quickly. And he's going to lose another position here to Nato. Nato's sniffing up the inside line. Here comes Roland and the Nissan. Oh, he's chosen the inside line. Costa trying to go around the outside. Evans shuts that door off. I don't know how to call this.
I tell you, has been saving energy. Sete Kamara, he's got about
you?
4 or
That's
5% more than the people around him. His
Puncher!
bird goes off track.
Puncher!
He's got a puncher.
Bird with a puncher, so he wants to stay out of the mess, and now he's out of the race. He'll get back
That's
in.
the first time I've seen a Hankook puncher in
Yeah.
Formula E.
Yeah, that's weird. It takes a lot to
Free
cut
wide
these.
into turn one,
What?
and the Costa ahead.
And so many people nearly in the wall. Oh, and sliding there goes Dennis. Nato is now ahead. He's in sixth position. And filter out again, please. And Constantina up. I think this is a new record for overtakes. Go on, Jess.
They're also tightly bunched together. It's like F1 sim racing or something.
Here's a tyre. Yeah, let's cut away from the action to a tyre.
Unfortunately.
Either suspension or I'm not sure. I got a tap from the back.
So is Bird fully out if it's suspension damage? Vern leads to
How
Costa.
big it is.
Oh my word! No! 5 wide into the braking zone for 8 and 9. How did they all get through that? Oh, they didn't.
Someone's gone off.
Dennis cut the corner. And so he's dropped down to 9th position. Evans got shoved out there as well. How did they all not make it in the wall? Frying just dropped down to 18th position. That's why attack mode's coming in. Roland takes the lead. Sebastian.
It's good for trying to go for moves on the inside, but couldn't make it stick.
And
we also got
damage.
Evans and Costa going for it.
Damage! Vern, front wing damage. He's now got front wing damage on it. Vern, look, it's hanging off. That's going to end up underneath his car. Vern's in trouble. And I hope he knows it as he takes the lead. And
It's hanging a bit precariously, but it's just at an angle, so the supports are doing their job, but only just.
that's Bird a lap down. Bird's back in this race, but a lap down. So Bird's waiting.
He's
Yeah.
obviously got to let everyone through, yeah.
Oh, God.
And round the outside goes Da Costa again. How many times has Da Costa gone round the outside of everyone in this race? At least 6 or 7 times now.
Vern leads, but with a very damaged front wing. As you say, he's just scraping on the bottom. The struts doing their job and holding up. It looks about as good.
Safe.
It looks about as good as Sharon Osbourne's latest face lift as well as they come through. Back on the power. And again, Vern's taken maximum attack mode as well. And now into the lead goes Da Costa. And back through as well. Contact again in the Concertina! Stay together! Everyone nearly rammed up at each other. Coming into 8 and 9.
Gunther's used a lot of energy. He's on 38%. Costa on 41. Yeah, this is that 4-wide moment again. And somehow sanity prevails. But they nearly went into madness there.
Dennis wisely getting out of it as we saw at the exit of the track. And Vern's wing getting worse and worse and worse. And Vern and Da Costa still want to do it. Is that Da Costa? No, Vern leads, not Da Costa. The timer screen can't even keep up with this. There goes the McLaren. That's Hughes going 3 wide. He's going to get past Boemi and Van Dorn. Only to 8th position. Lead changing again. Roland's right there. They're going to have to start pushing now as well because you're going to have to want to lead this one. So Roland might actually win a race for Nissan at the moment as well. He's getting right back in the mix of things, isn't he? Oh, never mind. There comes Da Costa. Da Costa's literally fighting
Da Costa trying to go for move on Roland.
And Virtual Race Engineer saying Da Costa's in a strong energy position. I think Jess as well at a crucial time from what we've been hearing.
Podiums, as you say.
Pictures are very choppy and blurry at the moment.
I will adjust. Yeah. I will adjust. And don't forget, Vern's got
so many overtakes, even the broadcast can't keep up.
Vern, don't forget, has got a 5-second time penalty as well, guys.
Does.
So that'll be changing over as well. Into the chicane we go once more.
So that surely means this is Roland, Da Costa and Gunther fighting for the lead at the moment. With potentially Norman Neto just about trying to get into this podium squabble as well.
You're saying about the systems keeping up to date. That is exactly what's happening. The systems can't keep up to date as well because the timing screen is overriding everything that we're using at the moment. It can't keep up with the systems trying to run it all. This is just like in Portland last year. Look at that. Roland now leads the title. If he just stays where he is, he's got the championship lead to Vern. Vern with a 5-second time penalty, let's not forget. So he may be the net leader, but he's not the leader of the race, and he certainly won't be after this, because round the outside, 4 wide, into turn 1. Oh, did he take it? No, Roland's taking it. Vern's coming back, and that's at the inside. What is going on? Roland leads this race. Da Costa can't get through.
Only 8 laps to go. No safety cars, surprisingly, despite 3 cars running into issues. So maybe Roland's picked this moment to go.
Yeah, go. He's got no... Has he got an attack left? I'm not sure. I don't know. I just don't know. Vern has got to know.
I think he used both of them. Oh, Da Costa around the outside of Jev.
Would Vern try and help his teammate? Where is Van Dorn? 12th. Oh, and this back straight away. Oh, there's more carbon fibre flying up in the air. Oh, now Vern hits the front again. Nothing to lose, I suppose. He's not going to get a 5-second gap in 8 laps. I was wondering what that was on the timer screen.
Definitely not.
So the battle is actually Roland Da Costa. Right round the outside, Jake Dennis coming to the party. And Gunther up the inside. Jaguar coming in of Evans as well. And it's 2 by 2. It's like we're watching NASCAR. If NASCAR were this exciting this season, which sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And swap sides, and up into the lead of the race effectively. Oh, and off the track, on the grass, touching Roland. Da Costa getting his fist out. He's giving him no room. Giving him absolutely no room. Down to turn 1. Roland has to lift. That's going to give the advantage to Gunther. And that's put Gunther in a disadvantage. And Gunther goes through. Wow, didn't expect that one. Breathe.
Yeah, the thing is, Gunther, Da Costa, Vern are all in attack mode and using it off. But yeah, Da Costa in the best position energy-wise, and then it's Roland.
Free to make the track as wide as possible.
As we said, he's making the track as wide as possible as Da Costa, so that's what we kind of knew.
Is he doing like a Checo Perez like style of defence there?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Frines is in the pit lane. Frines is in the pits. Now, what's he done that we're not seeing?
And he's still using an attack. Something's gone off someone's card there, or is it just me?
No, something flew off.
I think that's Dennis's tail light hanging off.
Yeah, he had damage
that's what
earlier.
I thought. So it's not just me. Good.
In all this mess, ERT are inside the points at the moment with Dan Tickton running in 9th place. So ERT stand to collect a point.
Oh, there's Roland on the outside of Gunther into... I can't remember which turn it is because it's a long circuit, but...
13.
9 and 10, isn't it?
That is turn 12 at the bottom of the hill. 13 and 14. This is
Almost.
turn 14 now. 8, 9 is the chicane.
Still got another day to learn this.
Yeah. It's confusing me because turn 5 on this layout is actually turn 9 in MotoGP. It's
Costa's
really
starting to defend now. He's hit the lead, and he's still got about a minute of attack mode
Yeah.
left. So
Oh, dust.
Porsche could have judged this perfectly, and Verne is just going to hold up Roland Gunther behind. So I think Da Costa's in the box seats right now.
I've lost my pick. I've lost my picker winner. I was going to say Verline. He's 19th.
I've lost my pick a winner as well because he's going to get a penalty.
Ugh. Who had Da Costa? That's a surprise. Oh, debris on the track there. So here comes Roland round the outside.
Oh, that's Roland trying to get past Verne on the exit.
He's kept
I
that
don't think
power.
he's going to make it stick though. He's keeping a good line now.
Nah, he's going to have to lift and
Roland's
coast.
using less energy than Verne.
Oh, and Verne's trying to have a go at Da Costa. I don't think they've told him about the penalty at the moment. It's a side by side. Surely Verne would know he's got a 5-second time penalty. Surely. I can't see why they wouldn't have told him. Oh, and there's another one. Van Dorn's got wing damage. Van Dorn has wing damage. Both DS Penske's have wing damage now in this E-Prix. As on the inside, Gunther coming out, nearly kamikazing the side of Roland and Verne. And Verne shuts the door. Gunther has to lift off. And that's put Roland down to about 4th position. And Verne going for the lead. But Roland round the outside of the last corner, getting ahead of Gunther. Fantastic!
Yeah, Verne is defending, forcing people to try and go up the inside, defending the inside. Then that creates a space around the outside, and Roland takes the lead.
Round the outside into turn 1. 3 takes 1. Forget the Spice Girls, 2 become 1. 3 become the lead for Roland. And now he's going to defend it from Da Costa like crazy into turn 5. And Da Costa riding the tail light.
Not
This is
again,
more like 15
Josh.
or 16 become 1 at the moment. It's a
Wow,
bit of a crowd.
Ed, wow.
There's a saying for that, as there's damage to the side of Evans as well on his front wing. He's got a snapped winglet. Evans really struggling. Verne just crumbling. Van Dorn has crumpled.
Yeah, look at Roland. He's gone.
He's gone.
On for it.
We got some cordial collision between John Verne and Rareline Never action, and Van Dorn and NATO incident has been noted.
Evans' front left side of the wing has gone. Now his right side has been clipped as well by Gunther to come into that braking zone as well. So they're all just... Look at that Van Dorn. In 10th position, but has damage. That's Gunther trying to have a look at Verne for 3rd. Roland has jumped right to the front. Costa, though, up 12 places. If he can get 13, how amazing would that be for him? Absolute insanity in this E-Prix as they continue on the attack and continue on the push out of the last corner. Lap 24 of 28. Roland, Acosta, Verne, 1, 2, 3. Gunther, Evans, Dennis, 4, 5, 6. Tictum, Sete, Kamara. Then Fenestras, Van Dorn complete the top 10. Boemi, NATO, Hughes, Degrassi, Muller, Deruvala, De Vries, then we get Frimes, Cassidy, Verline, Birds allowed down.
Rennie and Dennis incident noted as well.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few incidents happening at the same time. I'm keeping an eye on race control. Because it seems like Ed's got the action covered, so I'll keep an eye on race control.
Yeah, look at Sede Kamara, 22% energy. He's saved more than anyone ahead of him. Ticked him ahead. He's done fairly well as well on 18, 19%. But it's really Roland on 20%. That's got track position. So Da Costa, if he wants to win this one, next 4 laps, he's got to make that move. And here he comes down the back straight.
And Verne's
He's going to try and
make
go around the outside, and so's Jev.
Verne takes 2nd position on the road, and that Costa as more cars off the track, and flying off there was NATO with Hughes' battle. So NATO will have to give that place back.
Dennis as well.
Let's have
Lost a
Verne.
bit of his front wing.
Verne here.
He's picking up now. You bet on something the guys behind you. A tiny bit less than the guys in front, but slow.
Are they going to appeal this penalty? Because they're not telling him. They're telling him to push hard and go for it. So are they going
They tell him to push hard because he's got that penalty.
5 seconds in this race? It's already put him to the back of the field anyway. He's already out of it. Verne will score no points. He's
It's
in non-factor.
Costa.
It takes 2nd on the inside turn 1. Verne tries to come back to fight. Roland has now pulled the biggest gap of the race, 0.8 of a second. Yeah, that's how much it is. Whew,
Wow.
word. Oh, and breathe.
How are we going to cope tomorrow, Josh?
It's 2 laps shorter. We'll be done by now.
I wonder if Roland is doing this because remember Tokyo where he lifted off to let Gunther through and then tried to come back at the end and ran out of time. He's doing the opposite strategy now. He's taking track position early on and then trying to weave down this straight to defend that sort of thin air so that Da Costa can't slipstream him as easily.
Move further back. That's going to be a little look from Van Dorn. Both ERTs are inside the points at the moment. Tictum 7th, Sete Kamara in 8th position. That's brilliant for the two of them to get good points.
Look at Tictum's front wing.
Oh.
It looks barely hanging on. And oh dear, Dennis and Evans losing their rear taillights. It's a brilliant move from Dennis up the inside of Mitch Evans to take 5th place.
There is literally debris everywhere you look. It's getting impossible to actually race on a clean line here. Dennis still carrying that damage to the rear taillight. Has it gone? No, it's still falling off. Oh, there it goes over the curb. On board with Dan Tictum.
Evans has lost his tail as well.
Yeah.
No added laps. No added laps for the first time in ages.
Yeah, very long time. We haven't had any added laps added to this one, so that's great news. I think we had a safety car in Mexico, didn't we? But it went to 2.
Yeah, we had a safety car in Mexico, yeah.
And there goes Da Costa on the inside line.
Look at this.
Roland's going to try and hold him around the outside, though. A little bit of a drag, wheel to wheel, and Da Costa gets his elbows out and takes the lead of the race. He saved the energy, and now they're level on energy, and Da Costa's got more. That was no added laps, I think, from the race director.
Was he trying to speak? They just didn't. It was just like vanish or something.
He just said no
Van
added
Dorn and
laps.
Gunther very low on energy. Vern as well.
Now, Da Costa, I think, has got this one. I think he's got the energy to push away as there goes the inside line. That's Dennis, isn't it? Passing Gunther, yeah, with a tack load.
Yeah, because Gunther knows he's about to run out here if he's not careful.
Where did Dennis start?
Dennis started...
He was just outside the top 10 in 14th or something like that.
17th.
That's good.
17th he started. Dennis started 17th. He's up to 4th. Maybe we should have more of these races. It helps those. And Cassidy has stopped. Cassidy has stopped on the track. We're at last corner. He's not in the pit lane. Cassidy stopped at the last corner, turn 14.
No yellow
Is
flag
going to be
there.
yellow?
Yeah. Let's have a listen.
Now,
Dennis?
get ahead.
Got 60 seconds left in attack, still 1% more than Jeff.
Well, that was a 20-second old message. So go after Jeff, basically. But Jeff's got a penalty, so Dennis is going to get the podium here. Cassidy, according to our timing screen, has stopped exit of turn 14. So I hope that's not going to cause a yellow flag. It's too late to add laps. So it would be a virtual if anything needs to be deployed because we're about to start the last lap, so we can't go to a full safety car. Look at Dennis. He wants to go to the outside line to get ahead of Vern. Da Costa has the lead. Can Roland do anything? They're level on energy with 1 lap to go. Round this circuit, you only use 5, so go for it. And look at this as well, because Dennis just absolutely wants to go through. Vern is blocking him at every opportunity. Look at that. He's literally, Vern is defending hard on the inside line. That's moving under braking. That's not allowed, Jeff. That's not allowed.
I think Jeff's a bit fed up with how his race has gone, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he started pole and he was expected to finish this in the
second.
lead, but it just goes to
Evans,
show.
wasn't he?
I did say pole does not matter. Someone's gone
That's
into
Cassidy.
the pit lane.
That's Cassidy. That's what the race director was saying. Cassidy is stopped in pit lane. Pit entry is closed. Pit entry is closed. So that's what he was
Final
saying.
lap.
So anyway, so they'll be coming into the pit lane anyway now, so just don't come into the pit lane until the end of the race when you can carefully go through. But that's why Cassidy stopped and he's out of the race. It's a battle at the front then finally. It's a 2-horse race here. Da Costa looking for his first win in a very, very, very long time when his seat
Bird
at
pit.
Porsche. Bird's in the pit lane, so he's going to get a penalty. Bird's pit, he's not allowed. Scott Elkin closed the pit lane. But is Da Costa, whose seat is under pressure as well. Is he about to win here as there's contact from the back in the picture? Someone's off at turn 7. Someone's off at turn 7. It's car 18 off and Jaruvala's off the track. Jaruvala's off at turn 7. Double yellow further back. So there has been contact. But 2% and 1%. Who's going to win the first ever Mazzano E-Prix? Da Costa, whose seat is under pressure by Nico Muller, who did a private in-season test. Ollie Rowland, who wants to win for the first time in a long time. Both of them wanting to stop being bridesmaids and finally have their day out of the last corner. It's a drag race to the line. It's Angelio Felix Da Costa who wins in Mazzano. Fantastic! That is a drive and a deserving win when he needs it the most. There's a car off in the background as everything goes nuts at the line. Sete Kamara gets for 7th place. Dan Tickton finishes 5th. Both ERTs get well-deserved points. Dennis 3rd, Gunther 4th, and Vern finishes in 8th, but hasn't had that time penalty added. But double yellow turn 7.
Yeah, he has.
105 seconds, put him 8th.
No clue.
P1 Nate. P1. Great job, great job, great job. Good job. This is a DAC attack.
Should we try and talk to him?
DAC attack. Here we go. Here we go.
Antonio
There he
is
is.
Karun up here. Antonio is Karun up here in the commentary box. How are you feeling? What an amazing... Well, you must be... Are you relieved? Are you happy? After the start of the season, what a great story.
Honestly, mate, I've never doubted. Yeah, tough start to the season, but we've been on a roll lately. Just got to fix my qualities a little bit more and make my life a little bit easier. But yeah, thank you. And I hope your kid enjoys this one.
Oh, you know he's your biggest fan. Just want to say, you know, in terms of the race, how nervous were you in that pack? It looked pretty sketchy at times.
Yeah, it was. I think the biggest thing really was awareness, you know, make sure you know where you are, don't hit anything. I kept the car in one piece. I got hit by Jeff with like 4 or 5 laps to go, which damaged a little bit my right-hand side corners, which, yeah, most of them are to the right. But we were really good on energy, did a good strategy with the team, and we were able to bring this one home.
Okay, all
I'm
teams,
happy, man.
all
I'm
teams,
happy.
just be aware. Stay right, stay to the right when you enter the pit lane. There's a car there on driver's left. Please stay right.
There it is. Cassidy.
Okay, follow marshal instructions there. Yeah, follow marshal instructions.
Yeah, Antonio,
Again, from
amazing
race control,
job
please stay
from
to the
Antonio
right.
Felix da Costa.
Yeah, just said to the right. Right, we're going to sign Ed Hunter out here from the comms box. Ed, what did you make of the Mazzano E-Prix?
It was pretty good. Is Roland on the radio?
Yep.
What did we just do, man?
Edwin, fastest lap. Well done, mate.
That's Roland in P2. 4 tenths back. Go on,
Good
Ed.
point. Fastest lap with an extra point. Yeah, so Roland, while he'd be disappointed not to come away with the win there, I think he did a pretty good job. He's leading the championship now, 4 podiums in a row. I think Roland has got to be feeling confident. Interesting right at the end there, I think Evans ran right out of energy. So the EIT is going really conservative early on from the back of the grid to save energy. That really worked for them. I'm so happy to see Ticktum in the top 5 because I think a lot of people have been criticizing him, not least us in the podcast a couple of times. And it was great to see him put in a superb performance. Sete Kamara right with him as well. I think Kamara did the best job on energy today in terms of saving it, especially considering how inefficient the ERT is. It seemed to actually work today, which was a surprise. Jev defending like crazy. Didn't quite work out for him in the end. I think DS Penske did what they could, but the cards didn't quite fall their way. A lot of people, I think, are going to say, I know exactly what Jan Jorman is going to say. He's going to say, worst Formula E race of all time. I think first 20 laps or so were just absolutely chaotic. And I think those last 10-8 laps were really where the race was won and lost for Da Costa and Roland, especially with Jev holding Dennis up. That kept him out of play. So lots of big stories. I think losing the front wing, as much as the Peloton style racing doesn't help, I think it's the design of these Gen 3 cars. So I hope Gen 3.5 solves that, because that really eliminated poor Cassidy and Verline as well. I think at the end, De Vries was the one who crashed into De Ruvela, and that's being investigated after the race. So we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, I think that's all my thoughts. Right, I got 10 minutes until there's an endurance race commentary, but I enjoyed watching it. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Ed. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. So, Jess, we're still an ad break here. Let's drag JT up to the comms box if we can with the camera because it makes the most sense. And Omi is still, I believe, eating. He's been having dinner throughout all of this. Jess, we're going to throw over to the world feed. We'll get your thoughts on the podium in a second. And let's throw it back to the world feed for some interviews. post-race, and now I'm saying that, I can't breathe. The asthma's kicked in because of that race after this. Let's go back over to the world feed. Actually, let's take a look at Jake Dennis quickly. This was contact on the last lap there, Jess. I think this is after the safety car, isn't it? So this is Dennis on the inside line, taking third. He comes third. This is post-race, right? What is this? I have no idea what we're watching here on board with Jake Dennis's replay. Not a clue what we were watching there. Not a clue. There goes Alexa Rendell, just behind, off to her post-race podium shouting. Let's get your thoughts then, Jess, on this one before we hear from the drivers. What did you make of the E-Prix? Mike.
There we go.
Hi.
First half of the race, absolutely chaos. Then nobody wanted to lead that race, and then lifting and coasting did not help. But let's have an interview with
race.
Costa.
Yep, with Nikki.
Really a precision drive from a champion. Congratulations, our race winner.
Thank you. Yeah, what a mess. That was crazy, but I had a lot of fun. It's more like being smart, being aware of where everybody is. At times we were like 4 or 5 side by side, people coming from every direction. I got hit a few times, but luckily nothing too big to my car. At the end there, I was really struggling to turn to the right. But yeah, I mean, in the end we held on. I think the strategy in terms of energy was perfect. We went at the right time. And yeah, it's good. It was that was a proper DAC attack.
That's what we like to see. And, you know, I know it's been a challenging couple of weeks for you. It couldn't be a more perfect time to have a win.
Life is like this. There's ups and downs in life, and nobody's perfect. And we got to be a team when times are bad. So I think today will be good for that. You know, I'm here for the long haul, and yeah, it's hopefully this is the first of the season and the first of many this year.
First of many indeed. Thank you so much. Today's race winner, Antonio Felix da Costa for Porsche.
Antonio Felix da Costa then, winning for the first time since Cape Town 2023. Great drive from the Portuguese. Saw him there making some moves on Oliver Rowland in the Nissan. And he was there and thereabouts throughout the entirety of the race, wasn't he? He did a bit of grass tracking on some occasions. You saw some bodywork flying as well. But Antonio was the man who was really flying as he took the checkered flag here in Misano. Well, let's head down to Oliver Rowland then. A 4th consecutive podium for Team Nissan.
Oliver Rowland, this is just phenomenal. Your 4th consecutive podium. Describe this feeling.
Well, amazing. I think we had a mega start to the year with 3 podiums. We felt like they were not fortunate, but we'd maximised everything. And coming here, it was going to be a little bit more tricky on a high-efficiency track, but I'm pleasantly surprised. The car was mega, the energy management was good, and yeah, we had one of the best paces out there. So yeah, really confident and really happy.
It was a very busy race. Did your strategy play out the way you wanted it to, or you were just working it out depending on what everyone else was doing?
Yeah, I had to adapt because I wanted to obviously save quite a lot of energy, and then people got quite hungry in the beginning, so I was probably down to like 12th, 13th, and then I realised that being in 12th and 13th wasn't the best place because people were being rather optimistic. So I decided to come back towards the front, sit around 5th or 6th, and then when I got the information that the energy was good, that I decided to go into the top 3, and I think me, Jev and Antonio kind of worked quite well, blocking the track as a bit of a 3, which was quite tactical, and yeah, then Antonio didn't want to go, so I went, and then for me, 2nd was a good result today.
Well, I need to check the calculations, but I think you will be at the top of the championship standings now, so congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Oliver Rowland.
Yeah, confirmation, Oliver Rowland is at the top of the championship standings, despite having not won a race in 2024. 4 consecutive podiums. Very, very good job for the boy from Barnsley. That's the moment he came over the line to take 2nd place. Surely it is only a matter of time before we see Rowland and Nissan on the top step in his form so far this year. And that's what it means for team principal Tommaso Volpe as well. I will say one thing about Tommaso. Fantastic karaoke in Tokyo a couple of weeks ago. Let's go down to Jake Dennis then, 3rd on the podium.
Well, Jake Dennis, you started from P17 that you are well aware of, and you said you were going to be on the podium. So you've just delivered exactly what was expected.
I mean, yeah, we've obviously got a really efficient powertrain to have P1 and P3 for Porsche is a special day for us. From my side, yeah, I was confident going into the race, but it's been a real struggle for me this weekend. You know, we've been one of the slowest cars all weekend, and over one lap. And then, yeah, the boys gave me a good car in the race, good strategy, and yeah, just good awareness from myself, Oliver. We can always work together a little bit, and yeah, we both got on the podium. So yeah, overall, really happy. Probably be a bit of the same again tomorrow, you know, starting probably towards the back and then we'll come back through. But overall, very happy on a day like today to get a podium when you're not feeling good in the car. They're the times to score big.
You used your attack mode pretty late in the race. That strategy massively plays to your advantage. Is that going to be something you'll do again tomorrow?
To be honest, I didn't plan to leave it that late, but just the way everything was working out, I had to, and the race was getting faster and faster, and that allowed me to not lose too many positions after taking it. And yeah, felt like it could have had a couple of moves on Jev, but I started to suffer with a couple of other issues on the last 2 laps, so I had to consolidate. And knowing he had the 5-second penalty, I knew it was a P3. So overall, very happy.
Brilliant. Congratulations. We look for a peak performance tomorrow. Jake Dennis.
Jake Dennis, a second consecutive podium. As he said, car not exactly the quickest in terms of qualifying, but he was punchy on the grid, and he had good reason to be, as it turns out, going and taking a second consecutive podium in the row, third on the road in Tokyo, and third here in Misano as well. I think he'll be pretty pleased with that, all things considered. Shout out as well to Sergio Sette Camara and the ERT team, because Dan Tincton got 5th place in that one, which is quite an incredible result. Camera in 7th place. That means ERT's 16 points today. That's the most they've scored as a team since Mexico City in 2018.
Yeah, well, here's the results. Antonio Felix da Costa is victorious. Ollie Rowland finishes in 2nd. Jake Dennis goes down to 3rd. Maximilian Gunther finishes in 4th. Dan Tincton's 5th. 6th place in the field as well. That goes down for Mitch Evans. Sergio Sette Camara is 7th. Jean-Eric Vergne 8th after that 5-second time penalty has been applied. Norman Nato 9th and Stoff Van Dorn in 10th. He got lucky actually, Vern, with that contact on the last lap. That put Jaruvula down, created the gap, and he slots in between. Sasha Fenestraz is 11th with Lucas Di Grassi 12th. Nico Muller in 13th. The apps that started so well couldn't hold the energy. And then it's Boemi in 14th, Hughes 15th. De Vries received a 5-second time penalty before Verline Freins in 18th. Jaruvula Bird, Cassidy Mortara out of the race. Oliver Rowland now leads the championship on 73 points to Jake Dennis on 68. Dennis right back up there, Rowland at the front. Brits lead Formula E once more. Verline, no points, he's down to 63 again. Cassidy on 61 again, no points. And then Gunther on 60. Again, no points on the board for him, unfortunately, as well. Further down, Evans on 50, 45 for Da Costa as well. And points finally for the ERTs. Dan Tincton now on 10, Sergio Sette Camara on 9. Both of them getting well-deserved points. Still no points for Lucas Di Grassi or Nick De Vries, or now Johan Jaruvula. Was on course, got kicked out. In the Teams Championship, Jaguar lead on 111 points to Porsche on 108. Andretti has 87, Nissan 81, DS Penske fumbled 62, Maserati 60, McLaren 55, Envision 41. Then it's 19 points now for RT, 6 points for App Cupra, still no points for Mahindra in a miserable season. And in the Manufacturers Championship that was added after the last race in Sao Paulo, it is Porsche leading the way on 162, Jaguar 140, Nissan 128. Then we see Stellantis on 113. The ERTs are on 119, the Electric Racing Technologies. And Mahindra, they do have points, but 6 points only courtesy of APT, not the factory team. So we're getting ready for the podium ceremony. Let's hand it back over to the World Feed.
Well, what a race it has been here in Misano. That had it all, didn't it, really? Drama, delight, despair for some. And Da Costa taking the victory at the checkered flag. They'll be absolutely over the moon with that. We'll get the podium celebrations underway here in Misano in front of the adoring Italian fans before too long. Looking forward to seeing what that will be like for Da Costa's first visit onto the podium since South Africa last year. Probably Modlinger will be the team representative as well, and I wonder what what the atmosphere will be like between those two, because as we understand it, they haven't exactly been on the best terms so far this year.
Yeah, but success is a great thing to bring people together. I'm sure they'll be high-fiving, hugging, and all that sort of good thing. But yeah, timely victory for Da Costa, and that will certainly maybe heal some of the cracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. What a race it has been here in Misano. The good thing is, of course, we get to do it all again tomorrow. 2 laps shorter in terms of the race distance for round 17, which is only going to make things even more interesting. But as we see the 3 drivers stood waiting to get themselves onto the podium, looking forward to these celebrations. That there, Antonio Felix da Costa. It won't actually be Florian Modley making his way onto the podium. It'll be a different team representative by the looks of things. What a drive it has been for Antonio Felix da Costa. His first win in South Africa in 2023 here in Misano.
Here we go then, onto the podium ceremonies. And it is Alexa, I can hear her.
Ready for the podium celebrations here at Rimini to begin.
Yeah, I thought I heard Alexa Rendell in the background, just wasn't 100% sure. I'm glad they're giving her more opportunity this year, because she has been doing the podium for a couple of years now, and behind the scenes media stuff. So there's the podium ceremony, the 1, 2, 3 is already. Someone's already looks like they've released the confetti cannon a little bit too early. On the back straight there. Josh T's stepped up to the com box as well. Josh T, while we get everyone on the podium, what did you make of that one from the pits?
There's one word, and I'll play the sound effect when we're off air, but chaos.
Yeah.
That was insane. 5 wide, 6 wide, 7 wide on the grass at Misano. 4 wide going into a chicane. What could go wrong? Everything. And everything did go wrong. 2 laps shorter, but I think it'll be the same chaos tomorrow as well.
I don't know if Omi's near a microphone, but I want to know what the hell he's been on about in the chat. Well, he's definitely. Oh, right.
Yeah,
what's been going on in the YouTube chat when I've been doing this with Jess and Ed?
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
Scheduling who's going to be where and who's going to be where, but yeah.
People are obsessed with you, basically, Josh.
And Omi, yeah.
And Omi.
And yeah, just us all.
Oh, it's nice to feel wanted. Oh, what a race. MotoGP is up in an hour's time. Josh T will take you through the start of that one, as I'll be watching the end of the Grand National. Grand National starts at 4. It should end at about 4:20. So Josh T is only going to take like 10 minutes.
Watching it now on the big screen, because Formula E's down here. So yeah, they're just warming up with an hour to go.
Have you got TNT? Did you finally get... What? How are you watching? Have you got TNT now?
No, I'm watching it on the call, like on my screen. But
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
What? I'm confused. What
Discord.
Oh, I see. Right, you've put the... Okay, I get you. I really...
Right, yeah. Cool.
I was really
But on
confused.
the big screen, my 40-inch, it's
Grand National.
Yeah.
Oh, I get you. Yeah, they're warming up.
Same will be for MotoGP. It'll be on my monitor here, like here, and then up there, which is where my, yeah.
Well, the Portuguese driver of Antonio Felix da Costa is going to take away the champion from season 6, when we had all that COVID drama and 6 races in 9 days to decide the championship. And it was da Costa then who took the championship on the first weekend, and we all went, okay, that was a waste of time. But after all the questions around whether or not he'll be with Porsche, even for the end of the season, he stepped up in Tokyo and he has mastered Misano. Antonio Felix da Costa wins, and we will hear the Portuguese national anthem.
Pascal Verline watches on. Now time for the national anthems.
And now the national anthem of the winning driver from Portugal.
don't need to say anything because Alexa does it for me.
Costa takes top honours then here in Misano. Now time for the German national anthem for Team Porsche.
And next,
See?
the national anthem of the winning team from Germany.
She does it for me. Don't do anything. That was an abrupt end, wasn't it, from the TV world feed?
Yeah.
Wasn't even me. As you can still hear it on in the background. So I did not press the button. I pressed it to turn it off the world feed, but it just like went whoop onto the podium. Then we get. It will be the constructors first, I presume, as well. Yeah, winning team. Margot and Lucrea present the trophy, the FIA Formula E Girls on Track Initiative. Porsche win again this season. I believe that's their second of the season. But we have 6 different winners from the opening 6 races, everyone. Who says Formula E isn't competitive in Gen 3? 6 different winners in 6 different races. Jay Dennis finishes in 3rd position and gets a trophy back for Andretti. The champion from last year, back after a very difficult start to the season. Slowly but surely is starting to close in on the gaps at the front, which is exactly what we wanted to see. And further on as well, 2nd place to Oliver Rowland. No, that is not Alexandra Gag. I thought it was in the back. Rowland, 4 podiums in a row in 6 races. He's our championship leader going into tomorrow. And the race win for the first time in about 3 seasons. Antonio Felix da Costa, at a crucial time in his Formula E career, has delivered and wins the Mazzano E-Prix. The champ is back. That's how you do it. Can he do it tomorrow? And now, as ever, it's very popular in this part of the world. It's champagne time! The Magnum goes off, and a big drink all around. Let the parties and celebration begin here in Mazzano. But in less than 24 hours, race 2 will have concluded, and it could be exactly the same. 26 laps is the distance tomorrow, and a long way to go. Who will win the 2nd Mazzano E-Prix? Round 7 of the championship is coming up shortly. But Antonio Felix da Costa can enjoy his day. He has made memories at this magical, mysterious, marvellous, mayhem-driven Mazzano E-Prix. Let's get final thoughts then as well. Starting with you, Josh. Who's going to dominate tomorrow?
I am actually, I don't know. After what happened today, I had no idea. I came in thinking that Vern would get it, and look where we ended up today. I don't think it's able to be called, Josh.
No, I think you're right there. I'm going to ask Jess about that question as well as TNT go off. Jess, what about you?
Well, my pick a winner for tomorrow is Rowland. I think I probably made the right decision, but I can't call it after that. It could be anyone. So I'm just going to leave my prediction, but I think don't be surprised if it's not who I think it is. And Burnham will be back with a vengeance, I think, tomorrow.
Absolutely. And Josh?
Yeah.
I think we can officially say I don't care if it's a bigger bottle of champagne here in Formula E than F1, but Da Costa does a better bang on the podium than Lando Norris.
That he does. Yes. I agree
that went
there.
so high.
That went fantastically well. Right, my thanks to Ed, my thanks to Omi, my thanks to Josh T, my thanks to you, Jess, as well. We'll see you all tomorrow. And to everybody as well, that concludes Formula E today, but we've got MotoGP coming up. Still a lot to do there. Day's not over. We've got practice 2 coming up in 50 minutes' time. No, in about an hour's time, actually. And then we've got all the action from qualifying, and then we're straight in as well for all of it as well in the Tissot Sprint at 9 o'clock tonight. And then at 9:30, I can collapse into bed and get some sleep before getting called up into another 6 a.m. start for another Formula E race. So that needs a practice session for whatever God reason. We can't just go from a qualifying to a race, can we? Anyway, my thanks to you, everyone here. Thanks to you at home. Da Costa's delivered at a crucial time in his Formula E contract, but the madness and mayhem of Mazzano will continue tomorrow. Well, if anybody remembers that race as well, as you're back live with us here on JB Motorsports, you might remember that he actually ended up getting disqualified from that event as well. So we are around about an hour and 20 minutes, well, hour and 10 in, and we have got Pascal Wehrlein fastest at the moment from 2000s to Oliver Rowland in second position. A remarkable event from him so far. So, while the conditions are still going well, reminder that this afternoon you can join us live here. Jack Pickering is trackside for us, and he'll have his camera on as we have the simulation race. That's this afternoon's session, right at the start. Myself, Ed Hunter, up in the comms box as well. Jack Pickering trackside with his camera. So if you want to see the only place to see the simulation race live, it's right here on JB Motorsports. Now, also here on JB Motorsports, you also would like to know that we're also in partnership with Formula E Zone and the FE Bar, daily testing reviews on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. So we're now on Thursday. It's 8 till 9 p.m. in the evening, and you can have your say on Formula E and your opinions on what is the most important topic at the moment. So that's the FE Bar on Thursday tonight at 8 to 9 p.m. That's GMT as well. Okay, well, let's send it back then to yesterday's episode of the FE Bar. Jack Giamana in hosting duties.
Good evening and welcome to the FE Bar. We've had a further 6 hours of running at Madrid and we have plenty to talk about tonight. Joining me tonight is the wonderful Jasmine Hughes, and we have lots to talk about. A great day for Cairo race as Dan Ticktum was in the top 3 for both sessions. Could this be a sign of things to come? We'll also talk about Mahindra as they look to make it their way forward, and you can hear from Eduardo Mortara tonight. But remember, we cannot do this show without you! !Discord. Join the Discord, get yourself in the waiting room. It's the only place to be if you want to have your chance to have a chat on the action in Formula E. Jasmine, your debut on the FE Bar. How are you? Officially, your debut.
Very well, thank you. Yeah, I had my one little standing gig when Nick was unwell, but otherwise this is officially my first time. Very excited to be here. Excited to be getting back into it. I've missed Formula E a lot, so thank you very much for having me. How are you doing, Jack?
I'm very good. Very busy as always. The day just doesn't stop, especially doing these back to back. I've got my papers. I've got papers everywhere. I've got two notebooks opened up full wide.
Well, he takes his stuff seriously.
You have to, you know.
Come on.
So yeah, make sure !Discord. For anyone who wants to get in. There is a lot to talk about today, and we're going to start with Kiro, as we correctly learned the pronunciation. I don't know how the team are pronouncing it, but did you know, Jasmine, it is a Japanese word?
What does it mean?
I can't remember. Something to do with furniture. Oddly enough. Yeah, it was something to do with furniture. Like it was like some sort of table or something.
I
don't know. When
I think speed, I think a table. Naturally. The two dots just join.
You know when you just ask Google, right, or Alexa, what does this mean? And then it tells you, right? So basically, that's what me and Jack Smith did for Motorsport Week when we won the show a couple of weeks ago. But instead we asked Google, And Google told us it was.
What does this mean?
What does how do you? Because we were wondering how to pronounce it. Because obviously they were like Cairo. Well, I was Cairo at the beginning.
Cairo.
Because
they're American, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're an
American
American.
team. So
I'm imagining like Cairo, you know.
So yeah, there was a good debate about that. But then we found out it's a Japanese word. So we're like, has to be Kiro from now. And that's how I'm going to pronounce it. If they want to pronounce it differently, then they're wrong. That's the best way to go about it. But what a day!
Maybe we should make a poll this year and just like keep a tally of all the different ways that people pronounce it, like every press conference, every broadcast, what are all the different possible combinations,
and then see which one is most liked.
Yeah, pick a winner.
Pick a winner.
Pick our favorite. Everyone can comment their favorite Kiro pronunciation. Give us some good suggestions.
Yeah, definitely. But what a day, though, because yesterday we were talking about they were towards the back, right? And we're like, Pico suggested earlier that because they've got the old powertrain, that they might be quick at the start, but then fade away, right? As the software begins, and then that sounded quite reasonable to think about. Then yesterday we looked at them, and you're like, they're near down the bottom. It is an ask, and we were talking to some Dan Tickton fans yesterday, Helen. And you're like, is it just another year petering around the back of the grid for Dan just to keep himself in Formula E? Poor Dan's managed to put this whole thing together by asking the Forest Group to come in and take over. So just to keep him driving at the back. But P2 today, P3.
Yeah.
What a way to start.
It's looking good, she says tentatively, because here everyone comes in saying testing doesn't mean anything, which obviously is kind of true, but they are looking good, and it is so nice to see Ticktum's name up at the top because he's good. He's a very talented driver, but we're never seeing him because he's at the back and just like you said, just petering around. So it's exciting to see it, and Beckman as well is P4, so just behind. He literally was, I think, just over a tenth off of Ticktum's fastest lap, which is pretty good considering he's not had a lot of running in Formula E cars himself. So yeah, looking quite good actually.
Yeah, I must admit, because we felt for Sergio. It would be interesting to get your opinion on Sergio Sette Camara here, because I don't think he did a lot wrong to not be in the seat, but it seems a bit like with Norman Nato, as we did the feature with him, when he's obviously the greatest journeyman in Formula E, hopping from team to team after every season. But he said the reason for that was politics, and it feels like politics has got in the way for Sergio Sette Camara here, because obviously this deal with Porsche, and they've wanted a Porsche driver to be in, so you've got Beckman in potentially driving, even though it's not confirmed, which is still quite funny in itself. And obviously we've got Simona Di Silvestro doing the women's test, which is also another Porsche reserve driver. So clearly Porsche have had a bit of an say in it, and I think it's a big shame that Sergio Sette Camara is not on the grid, because he took that ERT into the duels. If anything, you could argue he outperformed Ticktum last season.
Yeah, he's one of those ones that's just always been quite solid. He was one that just didn't always necessarily stand out to me, and I think obviously that is by way of him being in that team and towards the back, and obviously you don't have the opportunities to shine. But he was never one of those ones where I could think, oh yeah, he did this wrong. There's no incident that I can think, oh, I see why they got rid of him. So I absolutely 100% agree that it's probably politics. When all the news is kind of coming through with driver announcements and whatever, and you don't necessarily always register it, and then it was sort of, I was writing them all down and having a proper look at who was there, and I was like, where is he? Where's Sergio? I don't understand where he is. And I was like, oh, of course he's not in the team. They've obviously not confirmed that Beckman's going to stay, but I mean, if he performs well, they probably will. And again, he's a Porsche reserve driver. There's the politics playing into that.
And I think there's probably politics still going on, right? Because for the reason for them not to be confirmed in the first place, right? And that clearly has to be contractual, which is mad when you think about it, going in, once we conclude these tests in a couple of days' time, we're a month away from Sao Paulo. A month.
Yeah.
And you haven't confirmed your drivers, and you've done pre-season testing, which
I cannot think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I cannot think of a time that teams gone to the test and been like, yeah, so these two are doing our test, but they're not necessarily driving for us. They're just doing the testing. Like, that's so strange.
The
It's
only
such a
time
strange way
that
to
has
do things.
happened that I can recall is season 2. Whenever Jaguar joined first time, Jaguar did a shootout for the second seat. It was like Harry Tinknell was there, Adam Carroll. Adam Carroll won it. Alex Lynn was there. He didn't win it. And they did that publicly. Normally with BMW, how Jake Dennis got the seat, right? It was done in those private manufacture days. So that's how, and Jake Dennis won that, and then got to preseason testing. But Jaguar on their first season did that publicly, and every day there was a different driver in that Jaguar for preseason testing, and Adam Carroll was the person that won it. So it's the last time I can remember that happening. Was Jaguar's first season alongside Mitch Evans. Mitch Evans, boom, got you, mate. Who's going to join? But it was interesting. Harry Tinknell, Alex Lynn, Adam Carroll. There's one other that has escaped me, but it's in the issue with James Barkley on the magazine. And I did remember it when I interviewed James Barkley because I'd researched it because I needed to remind myself. But I can't remember. There's one name that escaped me.
You have those names written down in pen on your hand.
Yeah, one name that has escaped me. So let's look at, I've got the times here for day session 3. So we've got them up here because obviously in the afternoon session, I'm hoping it pops up. Slowly it does. There we go. Maximilian Gunther. Again, obviously his move to DS, doing bits, or 128.408 for him, so being faster. Dan Tickton there second, 128.439. So again, very close. Vern though, DS, if there's a slip up from Jaguar or Porsche this season, DS could be there. Beckman again for Cairo doing an amazing job. Mahindra, we're going to get into them in a minute. 5th and 6th. Only 3 thousandths between each other. Nick Cassidy down in 7th. He stopped today on track, so he was one of the 2 red flags that we had. Sam Bird causing the other one. Zay Maloney in 8th in Lola. Jake Dennis 9th. And Mitch Evans was 10th. And to run down the rest of them, because I've got them here, Muller was 11th. Roland 12th. Verline, the champion, obviously, in 13th with DaCosta 14th. So despite Porsche potentially doing quite well, not a massive day, although Verline was 4th in the morning session. Buemi and France 15th and 16th as, maybe some struggles going on with Envision, so we'll talk about that. NATO 17th, Degrassi 18th. Barnard, Bird, Hughes and Van Dorn. We're going to talk about them in a moment because they were quite special, and there is a reason for why they are down at the bottom, and we'll get into that a little bit later because I know we have a McLaren fan on the call, and we'll reveal McLaren then. But before we get into the calls, let's talk Mahindra, because it is a very, very, very big year for Mahindra. I think they've been petering at the back. They got Frederick Bertrand in, who we have an interview with, who we can hear from as well a little bit later on. They're in year 2. He's calling this year 2, right? So when he first took over, that was foundation year, year 0, see where we are. Last season was year 1. This is year 2. So I think for Mahindra, we need to see a step up this season. I think, and seeing them 5th and 6th today, it's a good start to seeing potentially this step up, which I think is massively important because they're not signed up for Gen 4 as a manufacturer, which is also important. They could continue as a customer, but as a manufacturer, they are not signed up to Gen 4 yet. So there's a lot of things going on in the background at Mahindra.
Yeah, it feels like this year is one of those kind of do or die years. Like, not die, that's dramatic, but it's one of those, like, you need to impress us now, because I think it's a lot of, you can give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, they've got new management. Okay, this is their second year, but technically only their first year. Now it's like, this is their second year. We need to see improvements. They've got such a strong driver lineup with, it's time to kind of see some real results. So it's going to be interesting seeing how they do. And I think you're right, there is a lot kind of ticking along in the background. They're one of those teams that, just you don't necessarily always know what's going on with them at face value. It feels like, it looks like they're doing okay or something, and then, something will come out of the background. You're like, oh, okay, that's thrown me. But I want to see them do better because, with like De Vries and Mortaris, like they need to be up there fighting, and it's a shame if they're not, and you can't help but wonder how Mahindra kind of wasting their drivers.
But they signed up for it. we have to, at the end of
Yeah,
the day,
true.
they signed a 3-year deal, right, last season.
Yeah.
They believed in Frederick's plan. So Frederick has put the plan to them, and both of them have gone, yes, all right. But putting a plan to a driver is one thing, executing it is another, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So for Frederick, and we'll hear from him a little bit later, he's got to deliver, right? This car has got to be a big step forward, right? Mahindra technically had one of the worst powertrains on the grid going into the start of Gen 3, and they can't have the worst going into today, basically, going into Gen 3 Evo, right? Because this is make or break for them, whether they stay in the championship, whether they become a customer team. There is talks of Mercedes coming in to, become the manufacturer back, and they'd be partnered with Mahindra, so it'd be like a Mahindra Mercedes potentially. That's one rumor that is flying about, but very interesting. So what we'll do now is we will hear from Eduardo Mortara, who spoke to our very own Mr. Jack Pickering earlier today.
How are you finding testing so far?
Difficult. I must say that this Yarama racing track is pretty challenging. It's a lot of high-speed corners where it's actually pretty demanding for us drivers. On top of that, we have to discover a lot of things. This new Gen 3 Evo car, we have a new powertrain, so there's plenty to do, and so we are gathering as much data as we can, and hopefully we are going to be able to have the best choices, or the right choices, let's say, for this season.
What is it like coming to a circuit where we weren't supposed to be here? So you've had to rock up, do the track walk, and then just go out and just go. And the circuit isn't Formula E realistic. So how much can you really learn from this week?
Yeah, as you said, like, it's not really Formula E. So we have like usually like some other racing tracks. So we're used to maybe other racing tracks, but it's good to be coming in this I would say old-fashioned like racing tracks where you need a lot of courage, you need to commit. Will it be helpful for us in order to understand what works, what's not working? I've got no idea. Hopefully.
And obviously last year, you sort of built over the season went on, and you peaked in. Obviously, you had the pole in Berlin, but the double points finish in London was huge for the team. But there seems to be like pardon the pun, but a different sort of energy coming out of the team this year. That there is something that you could potentially be fighting consistently for points and potentially the odd podium as well this year. Can you feel the difference from last year's car to this year's car?
Definitely, there's been a lot of work done by the engineers. This year, hopefully this will be enough, let's say, for us to be competitive. We've improved so much in terms of hardware, in terms of software. As you rightly said, in the second part of last year's season, we were already more competitive. We were starting to show a little bit more pace. We were able to grab some good points, effectively in Portland, also in London. It's always good actually to finish well. So hopefully it's going to be good for next year.
All right, cheers, Adam.
And we are back. I know it's really important to just pick up that Mahindra did finish last season quite well. I was in Berlin when he took pole, Mortara, and yes, the double points finish obviously was really important. So it shows Mahindra on the up, and it's just that next step of progression, and I think that's what we want to see from the test and especially come Friday when they probably go full attack, right? Where are they? And if they are in that top 10, if they're pushing in that top 10, then we know Mahindra have made a step forward.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't need them to be right at the very top because, like Mortara was saying, they're here to learn, and they can't take too much away from this track because they're never going to race here again, which is a shame because I really like this track. But yeah, I think it's one of those ones that we want to see progress more than maybe genuine outright results at this point. We want to we want the team to be coming away with it like a sense of positivity and like, okay, we've got something we can build upon. Let's see where we can go. And like you were saying, towards the end, they were starting to get there. So it's like, can they carry that momentum forwards to this test and then carry the test momentum forwards to the, the start of the season? And looking at their performance in the last session today, it's possible. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they do the rest of the time.
Yeah, we do have their laps. I've got all their laps done. So Mortara has currently done 112 laps so far in testing. The Freeze 113. So they have done 225 laps in total, which is the fourth, because Andretti and Maserati have done 226 and McLaren are leading that on 235. But they are at the top pretty much in terms of laps. So car's reliable, which is good.
Which is very good.
There seems to be some pace in there for Mahindra, which is really important. But let's go talk to Nikki, because I know Nikki is very much dying to talk about McLaren. Nikki, you're on the FE bar. How are you?
I'm all right.
Hello. What would you like to talk about? I assume it's McLaren.
You guessed, Jack.
Go on.
I just feel a little bit gutted for what happened to Sam earlier.
Yeah, it's only a stoppage though. Like he's still done 116 laps of testing. So yes, he's had a stoppage, but it's not too bad so far, I'd say.
But I've got a bit of worry, right? Because like the new Lola and the new ERT team, whatever they're called, are actually like above them.
Yes.
Because when they finished today, they were sort of like second to last. So that's sort of making me worry whether they will actually be okay in the season, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I fully get that as a McLaren fan, but I've got some good news for you. News for you. Don't panic just yet. Taylor Barnard didn't do any laps at 350 kilowatts. So in the morning session, he did a lap time of a 1:30.344. Which was at 300, which was 16th fastest. So he was 16th fastest at 300. Everybody was at 350. So set their fastest lap on a 350. So Barnard
including Sam on that.
Sam was 6th fastest in the morning session, so at 1:29.107. So I'm assuming that in the afternoon session they focused on race running, because Bird and Barnard only ran at 300. So their lap times, and you can tell that you could probably tell that by looking, because if you look at Lucas de Grassi's time, it's a 1:29.739, right? Whereas then it's a massive drop off to Barnard at 1:32. So you can tell that they were running at 300. And Maserati, because obviously Hughes was the fastest in the morning, then Hughes is running at 1:28, then running at 1:35, which I'm surprised that they're running that far down off the pace, Hughes and Van Dorn, considering that they both did over 40 laps this afternoon. So, but they also didn't run at 350. But I'm sure their race pace isn't that slow, considering that he was doing a 1:28.
I hope not. I hope not, because I'd love McLaren to have a very decent season.
Yeah, of course.
Considering their pace last season, and obviously Sam's win, and all the bad luck they had last season as well.
Yeah, Jasmine, anything you would like to add?
Just on the stoppages, I always tell myself this is a bit of a coping strategy, but you want the stoppages to happen now and not on track during one of the races. This is the perfect time for stoppages. I'm always like, get all the stoppages out of the way now. Get it out your system.
That's what I said to my daughter. Because I've been told like 3 or 4 different things. I was told it was a technical thing, that Sam went in the gravel and he had to move out the way of another car.
He did go in the gravel. That is correct.
So,
But these things.
But to be fair, Jack, I'd rather him make the mistakes now, like Jasmine said, in testing than do it in a race.
Yep, and obviously,
which he did a lot of last season. To be fair.
Yeah. I was gonna say, think of it as a dress rehearsal, right? Like, it's just now's the time to just iron everything out. And also, like you were saying, kind of not knowing maybe what caused it, but I also think that shows the team's working through it and trying to work it out. And you don't always necessarily want to pin it straight on something that happened on track if it could be something that happened because of the car, but you also don't want to give away everything because you don't want all the other teams to go,
otherwise you do it to your rivals.
Exactly, giving away your trade secrets.
Yeah. I just want McLaren to have a good season, and I would love Sam to have a season where he didn't get the bad luck that he's had in the past, because I personally believe he's a very good driver, and he's still in Formula E for a reason.
Well, yeah, he's starting his 11th year.
I think he's probably one of the most successful drivers in Formula E that just hasn't had a championship.
Yeah, and
yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah, he might be the Sterling Moss of Formula E, one of the greatest drivers not to have an actual championship. But yeah, won lots of races. It'd be interesting to see. I think, it's still early days, and I know we're on this show, right, trying to make content, trying to make something out of this stuff, right, and looking and trying to analyze it, and maybe over-analyze it, but you've got to, right? If you've got
as you know, Jack, because I've never spoken to Jasmine, but Jack will tell you I am a massive McLaren fan. Formula 1, Formula E, IndyCar.
Really?
So I've been a massive fan since I was like 9 years old. My first racing hero was
Senna. When it was Button and Hamilton, I was a diehard McLaren fan during that period.
I mean, I was born in '79, so I grew up with Senna. So basically, that's where I had my passion came for McLaren.
I'll do it to you. That'll turn you into a McLaren fan, seeing Senna drive. That's for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm really happy with it. I'm really also happy as well that the Formula 1 team have done pretty well this season. Okay, Norris ain't going to get the drivers' championship this season, but to turn a team around like where they were 2 years ago is phenomenal. What that team's done. No, Andrea Stella, Zach Brown have just turned it around into hopefully a championship-winning team.
Fingers crossed for you, Nikki. Fingers crossed. But we'll let you go.
And hang on a minute. I think this is why I'm like Formula E, because I would love McLaren to win the World Championship in Formula E as well.
Yep.
And maybe that's why I'm overthinking stuff.
Maybe. But I'm sure that Ian James is a great team principal. And
100%. He's already got 2 championships under his belt, hasn't he?
So he knows what he's doing. So eventually, McLaren are working their way up after, the transition period is never easy. No matter how we spoke to Ian James, and he was in. I'm sure you read it. He said the transition wasn't easy, and it's about building it all back up. But even though there was lots of people that moved over from Mercedes to McLaren, it's still a challenge. There's still lots of nuances that you've got to achieve.
I think as well, when you come from a championship winning team and then you go into an independent team or whatever, or you change your name or you change the brand, it's a hard transition, because everybody looks at you like, why are you not winning? Why are you not doing this, that, and the other? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But personally for me, I think getting the win last season was a big positive. And how McLaren, even though McLaren finished 7th in the championship, I think everything that happened last season, most of it was a positive.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could Sam have been in title contention if he didn't have his injury? But then you wouldn't have Taylor in the seat this year, would you? Because, it's just things happen for a reason, don't they?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Nikki, we have to let you go because we've got the wonderful Nick ready and waiting to come tell us some more information about what happened today. So, we'll
I'm sorry about my run.
No, don't never apologise.
No, please. That's what you're here for.
That's what you're here for. That's what this show's about.
Exactly.
And this is what I love about the FE bar. This is what I like about the FE bar, because I had some trolls really, really say some nasty things about me because I was sticking up for Lando at the weekend. But I can safely say, here right now, I love coming in the Formula E bar because my opinions are always heard and I'm never judged about what I say. So
never will be.
Oh, that's so
that's why I like being here.
Never will be. We love having you on, Nikki. Okay?
All right, Jack.
Right.
See you later.
See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, before we get lovely Mr. Nick Golding from Racing News 365 on to give us a little bit of a roundup of the day, and we will be hearing from Mr. Pickering as well a little bit later on in the show. We're going to take a small break, but in the meantime, you will listen to Frederick Bertrand give his thoughts on Mahindra's start to pre-season testing, and we'll be back with Nick Golding after this.
This week, because obviously we weren't supposed to be here. How is it sort of adapting to this sort of scenario where we've come here, no expectations, the guys haven't done any testing? How is it different to what Valencia would have been?
I think first of all, what happened there, is so terrible that there was no chance and no question for us that we could race in or test in such a place where they have so much drama to survive and to live with. So the move was definitely a good idea. Find an option which was, in terms of logistics, easy to do for everyone. Was not so easy probably for Formula E, but they did a very good job identifying this track, which honestly suits quite well to the car. And what has been really well managed is the transition from a place which has not been used to any Formula E activity up to now into a place where we feel that it's working 100% as usual. So yeah, it's a very great move and great management of the move. And for us, it's important still to test this week because it's important for us to have a maximum of understanding of the new cars, all the new things which are coming into the championship, including fast charging probably, before we have to send all the package to Sao Paulo. So very good move, well managed, and finally a very good result on when we look at the way the things are going here. It seems to be a smooth test up to now, and we are all happy that it goes this way.
Are you having to be a little bit cautious though, in terms of like you don't want to get ahead of yourself too early? Because we know what happened in season 9. Well, obviously we got to Mexico. You got the pole and got the pole and the podium with Lucas, and then it sort of didn't continue that way for the rest of the season. So is it something that you have to go like, look, this is great, but let's just keep ourselves grounded for the moment, and let's just keep to our targets?
Oh la la, it's more than grounded that we have to say for the moment what we are doing here is a test. So be world champion of a test doesn't make any sense. And definitely I think what was important is in our construction phase, we needed those tests to make sure that we have enough time to race with the others, understand a bit more what we are doing compared to the others. But at the end, we do the test for ourselves. We don't look so much at what the others are doing. For sure, it's always interesting, but that's not the main thing. Everybody has his own program, everybody has his own strategy behind the test. So to take any conclusion out of it would be totally stupid and make no sense. The goal is to use this week to be ready for Sao Paulo. And in Sao Paulo, we can start to count because definitely it will be the start. How we start there? The best we can for sure. But this time for sure, if you compare it to season 9, as you said, we want to keep consistently improving and not going down. So the car we have developed is definitely a much better car. We have a level of confidence which is much higher. The team is structured in a much better way. So we have all the reason to be ambitious and hopeful. But there is 10 other teams thinking exactly the same. And from what we see here, the fight will be a tough fight for the full season.
All right, cheers, Fred. Thank you.
And we are joined by Nick Golding from Racing News 365. Nick, how's your day?
Hello.
Been? How are you?
I am very well, very tired. It's been a week so far of minimal sleep, but I'm standing strong, happy to be in Madrid. And I mean, we've had a full day today, 2 sessions, 6 hours of running, 3 red flags. Yesterday was the smooth day. Today we had a bit of the chaos. And yeah, lots and lots of stories. But tomorrow is the day that the morning will feel normal. The afternoon, at least the start of the afternoon, is significant.
Yep, it is significant with the attack charge. But before we get on to that, Nick, what were the main stories that came out today for you? Because obviously, like we talked about Cairo earlier, they performed admirably with Dan Tickton.
Yep.
So, you know, maybe surprise 1 or 2, I don't know. But like, what was your main stories? What was the main things coming out of the paddock today?
I mean, a couple of things, obviously, very quickly to run through the red flags. Obviously, the first red flag in the first session was due to Sam Bird getting beached in the gravel at turn 1, cold tyres. He was letting somebody pass who was on a hot lap and simply just went into the gravel from the cold tyres. The gravel here is so deep, he couldn't obviously escape, which is why he was then pushed back. And obviously, as soon as he was pushed back and the session restarted, he went out again. So that was all good. The second one also was Nick Cassidy, who just ground to the halt just after the pits entry along the start-finish straight.
Yep.
Jaguar have got some work to do. Obviously, they missed the opening day on Tuesday due to the budget cap breach, and the punishment, as well as the fine, was obviously missing the first session along with Nissan. For Jaguar then to have lost on Nick's side of the garage, okay, only 25 minutes. that's still 25 minutes they would have rather have had on the circuit gathering data rather than 25 minutes having their car being recovered on a pickup truck.
Yeah, they've only done 128 laps altogether.
They've got
which
some
is the
catching up
lowest
to
of
do.
everybody. You know, when you consider the penalty, and you've got McLaren on 235, so you can see how the penalty is impacting them.
What are Nissan on out of interest?
Nissan are on 145.
Yeah, so again, though, a lot of that difference will simply be obviously where, given that the laps have been on a race run, you're looking at around a 134, 135. So actually, at least probably 10 more laps could have been done by Nick.
Yeah.
So I said Jaguar got some catching up to do, and then obviously one of the weird stories today was the final red flag, really, really brief, and obviously it's to do to damage to the curb at turn 9, which is being repaired overnight. It's easy to forget this circuit has not had cars with this type of downforce in a very, very long time. It's normally for junior categories, much lower single seaters, or most recently truck racing.
Yep.
So the surface is got cracks all over the place. It's very old school, amber everywhere, and one of the curbs is basically just can't take anymore. So there are overnight repairs. What's really interesting is I'm speaking to Antonio Felix Costa and Pascal Wehrlein tonight after the second session, and asking them about the damage. If they saw it, they actually didn't know why the red flag had happened. So it's obviously something which the FIA has obviously noticed and is dealing with quickly rather than something the drivers have complained about. But in terms of stories, for me, the big two is the Stellantis power teams, not just DS Penske, obviously who topped the second session, but also Maserati, obviously who jaked up in the morning. The Stellantis powertrain is looking really, really good. Of course, there's only so much you can read into testing because obviously Panama is so different to Sao Paulo and it's so different to any of the permanent circuits we go to as well because it's so old school. It's only a grade 2 circuit as well.
Yep.
So it can't actually be raced on properly by Formula E, except for the mock race, which is obviously a bit of a different story. So for me, the Stellantis powertrain are the ones who definitely made a big step. And speaking to Jeff, he said that as well. It's clear we've made the step, but we won't know how big a step until we get through the first few rounds, which is pretty general. Yep. And the other big surprise is Kiro. I don't know what I'm saying with a bit of a Spanish pronunciation.
Because that's how you say it. That's how you say it.
Kiro. But they are looking, again, it's really hard to say because you don't want to get sucked into the excitement and sucked into the, oh my God, P2, P4. But Dan, and to give him credit, David Beckman, in what is an audition, it's obviously a year-old or 2-year-old Porsche package.
Yep.
It's looking good. Yes, that could be because it is a 2-year-old package, so that the drivers, or in particular Dan and the team, obviously have a lot of experience from the initial Gen 3 car.
Yep.
Whether that's maybe because that's why they're performing so well, but I'm really intrigued now how Kiro are going to do when it gets to the first couple of rounds, because they could get possibly some big points in the first few rounds, maybe then fall away as the other teams catch up with the actual Gen 3 Evo cars. But there's quite clearly going to be a lot of question marks about the Illuminous yellow team.
It does look nice.
Rounds. It looks very nice. It's going to look incredible under the lights, and it's very, very bright.
Yeah, I can imagine. I have a question to follow up on what you just said. You called it an audition for Beckman and Ticknam. Do you think it's an audition, or do you think it's just contractual? Because that's my theory. The reason that they haven't been signed is just there's got to be some contractual issues going on with Porsche in the background. That is the main reason. Because surely we're a month away. They're not going to put someone else in the car.
I agree. And you also have to look at the drivers who they're running in the female test. And I think what's interesting as well is that, unlike in previous seasons, the gap between obviously the preseason test and the first round, there's 4 weeks. That's not a lot of time if you're going to not go with David alongside Dan. That's not a lot of time to get somebody up to speed, even if it's Sergio. That's not a lot of time to get somebody up to speed, to get them in the simulator, getting adjusted to the Gen 3 Evo, whereas David now is going to have gathered all this data for the team. So I would be really, again, weird things that happened is Formula E.
Mm-hmm.
I would be really surprised if it's not him. And actually, in all fairness, based on what he's done for the first day and a half, there's no reason why he doesn't deserve the seat, to be honest.
No, 100%. No, I agree. It's like we was talking last night with the fans, and we were like, is there a time difference that he needs to be? But that's incredibly harsh, I think, to how far slower does he have to be from Dan Ticknam to not get the seat.
Yeah.
But at this moment in time, after today's afternoon session, you think, sign him
I
up.
don't see why not. And I don't see why not. But again, it's so difficult because this is, the drivers all know that no matter who leaves this test with the fastest lap time, that's not ultimately the most important thing. The most important thing is who's going to be on pole come the season opener in Sao Paulo. That could very well be the Jag, be one of the Jags. It could very well be one of the Nissans. It could very well be a Mahindra. It could be one of the teams who, haven't shown us their full card, all their cards yet. So that's the really difficult thing to read from testing. It is a case of you don't want to get sucked into the timesheets because, yes, of course, they make for great reading, and that's what we all base our session reports off from.
Yep.
But ultimately, the most important thing is what you mentioned a few minutes ago. It's more about getting the data, getting the laps gathered, and those who do the most laps have the most to look over and the most to help them get stronger going into the opening rounds.
Indeed, 196 for Kiro at the moment, down on 103.
Which is all right.
David, 93 currently. Lola, the only ones that do surprise me, they're on 184, 95, and 89. But before we talk about anything else, Jasmine, anything that you wanted to throw to Nick?
My main question is how bright does the car look on track? That's what I want to know. Is like, are we talking like fluorescent, or what's the level of yellow here?
I mean, Lola is, there's obviously the IKEA jokes, and that reminds me of like the yellow submarine, that kind of yellow. The Kiro it's Valentino Rossi yellow. It is.
Ooh, I like that.
It is so fluorescent to the point that it is genuinely, when the sun shines on it, which it has done today, it's been a beautiful day, it's been really warm, it is really bright to the point you generally can't look at the car without squinting. It is that bright. So I'm thinking for the likes of, in particular, Jeddah, for London, for the races we have under the lights, it is going to look so cool.
Cool. It gave me Jordan vibes, Jordan F1 vibes when they were yellow. But it sounds like from your description that it is brighter than the yellow that was in the Jordan.
So much yellow. The Jordan is like the Lola yellow.
Yeah.
The Kiro is Rossi. It is. It's even brighter than Rossi. It is. But it's brilliant, and it looks quick as well. And that's the big thing I think that I've personally taken away from the first day and a half is that the cars do look quick. They look the new body kit, in particular with the front wing. The cars look fast. They look a bit edgier. Just coming out the corners, the speed they're carrying, and of course at this circuit as well, the way it's so flowing and there's so much elevation change. The cars look great, and they just look visibly faster. The one thing which is really interesting, actually, speaking to the Porsche boys team tonight, is a lot of the teams today, because they've been gathering more race data rather than one lap pace, there's been a lot of the teams following each other, basically seeing what it's like in the slipstream, gathering data from that. Interesting on that was the four Stellantis-powered drivers were all working together and spent a good amount of today actually driving around together, changing positions, getting used to the slipstream. So it's interesting to see Maserati and DS clearly working together. But speaking to Pascal and Antonio, they were saying that despite the new body kit, despite obviously all the changes to the car and more downforce, actually the slipstream effect is pretty identical to last season. It's not a massive change. That is one thing that they're intrigued to see about tomorrow, but obviously at least for a couple of laps in the mock race, there's going to be then 22 cars all together. How big an impact that will have will be interesting, but the big change is the tyres. That's the thing that they are all screaming about, because simply they're just getting through them.
Yep. Then they are softer. That's what Sebastian Buemi told us. Like they're softer, and he's getting used to those new tyres. But we've got to talk attack charge, because that is what you're hinting at. Very well is the attack charge race, which we did see last season, but obviously it was dummied and it was simulated without actually being plugged in. This season it will be plugged in, and we will see it. What are we expecting? What do you think? How big is this for Formula E?
I mean, well, for those who obviously read the piece, I spoke with FCO, a friend of FIA, with Jeff Dodds this morning, and of course attack charge came up. There is going to be the mock race tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. It's scheduled for 24 laps, but as we've seen in the past, sometimes it does just come to an end or only a few cars finish. What's happened is in the past, when they've had to pit to pretend to attack charge, they then basically just retire from the race if they're not doing very, very well. This time, they're likely going to go longer because they are going to be actually using attack charge. This is, I asked Jeff, I was like, is this, because this is the last time they're going to get to test all 22 cars together. And that's the big thing, and see how it does work in the race, where it spits them out, how far behind they come out behind other people, how big a difference there is between pitting on, say, lap 7 and then pitting for attack charge on lap 8. So that'll be interesting. But I asked Jeff outrightly, is this do or die for attack charge? Because if this doesn't work, where do you go from it? If it does, when's it going to be used? Formula E want this crucially. If it does come in for season 11, it's the double header.
Yeah.
Because they want to see, as we saw a little bit with the different minutes for attack mode and the different number of laps. FE want to have 2 races where effectively one race could be just the usual, just attack mode or something, and the other race obviously featuring the attack charge as well. So it offers 2 different formats, 2 different spectacles for fans, and of course then throws up a few surprises. He openly admitted that this race, after initially saying it wasn't, he then thought about it for actually, this is do or die. Because if it works, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if it just works pretty well, then it will be used in some races in season 11. However, if it doesn't work, then it won't be introduced until at least Gen 4, because if it doesn't work, you can't, as he was pointing out, you couldn't then introduce it for season 12, because the big goal is to introduce it for some rounds this season and then for all rounds in season 12. That's the goal.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, the team simply just won't let them go through it, because if there are problems with how the team use it, that's on them. But if there's issues with the charges themselves and the technology, and there was one small little problem today when watching Lola doing one of their attack charges. I can't remember which driver it was on, but actually, interestingly, the best way to explain it is the charger goes into, if you imagine going to a petrol station, filling up your car, they have to undo a cap which covers the attack charge port, basically. So they unplug that and then plug in the charger. The plug on one of the Lolas wasn't coming out, and when they then put the charger in, it wasn't actually turning. The charger wasn't coming on. The way to show that is when the charger does go in. This is something really useful for fans. When the charger goes in, the car starts flashing. The flashes start slowing as the charge builds up. It flashes faster and faster and faster. The team then know when it's done, because it will then flash once for a very long time. It will then flash white. They can then take it out. The car goes away. When it doesn't work, it flashes red. And that happened once for the Lola, and of course they then managed to do it successfully. But it just shows that this is a technology which is going to have problems. And I personally think, I hope tomorrow's a success, because I think it'll be interesting to see it in use. But I think it's something that my big concern is it cannot influence a championship should it go wrong. Because the last thing we want to see is a driver, leading the championship, about to win the title, they come into their attack charge and it doesn't work because there's something wrong with technology. It's no different. If it's the team's fault, that's no different to an F1, a team struggling to get a tyre off a car. No different. It's to do with the technology. If the technology works, regardless if the team operates it wrongly, it will be introduced. But that's if it works across the paddock. It is do or die. Despite being pre-season, it's a massive, massive day.
I was very harsh on Formula E for attack charge last season and the teams. And if it is die for attack charge, it's a huge loss, because if you think about it, for the technology and what it brings, obviously charging at 600 kilowatts, cars can only charge at 300 kilowatts at the moment. So the technology coming to road cars, which is what this championship is about at the end of the day, it's a huge failure on the part. So I pray that it works.
And the big thing as well is that this technology was meant to come in for the start of season 9. We're now almost at the start of season 11. And as Jeff said, if it doesn't work, then you can't then bring it in just for some rounds in season 12, because then you've got Gen 4 and everything changes again. And there are going to be some massive decisions to make after this race. Obviously, one by Kiro about David. But for Formula E, the really big one is about, do they go through with attack charge? Do they just give it a go? Or do they put their hands up and say, you know what, we've spent time on this, and obviously a lot of money as well, and that's the other problem, and say it didn't work. Something else that's really interesting that's come into my mind on terms of the 2-month gap, that obviously you've spoken about a lot on the FE bar. And I spoke to about that, and of course it's very frustrating for them, but obviously sometimes, when things happen with politics, unfortunately, there's not a lot they can necessarily do if the new
100%.
If the new government don't want Formula E.
It was very interesting. Sorry, Nick. It was very interesting what Alberto said that day, that they had Plan B, right? So Plan B is whatever Plan B was, Marrakesh, Punta del Este. These are tracks that he named that obviously there still must be in the pool in the system. So whatever plan B was, they looked at and they decided against plan B, or they couldn't do plan B. But then he wants plan B in for next season, in for season 12, which I think's and plan A. Maybe you can shed some more light.
So Thailand isn't a complete no-no. Of course,
Yeah.
season 11, but from season 12, formerly I wanted to go there still, and it could still potentially happen in the future that it's not a definite no. It's just for season 11. In terms of a backup, a B option, I asked this. Are we going to get, to cover a TBC that becomes nothing? Are we going to have some backups in place to make sure we do get a race?
Mhm.
And Jeff's not keen on it because, of course, first it's a lot of money.
Yep.
It has to be a permanent circuit, so you can't just potentially close some streets and then not use it. And of course, as well for the fans, to buy tickets and stuff. And it from that point of view, listening to it, it does make a lot of sense for them to not use, and have a backup. It's difficult for the fans, of course, and for us as journalists and those who love the series to cover it, it's frustrating. But actually, to have a backup in place is not a cheap job.
No, I understand that. I disagree, and I'd be interested to get Jasmine's thoughts on this too. This is why I disagree with what Jeff just said there. We haven't announced it. So if you've not announced this backup race, if the TBC race becomes, let's say it was Marrakesh, let's say Marrakesh is plan B.
Yeah.
Well, then fans aren't out of pocket. No roads have been closed because nothing's been. We've gone right. We can't go to you. So now
It's not that easy, though.
Can you hold the race? And if they say yeah, we'll hold the race, then you'll go splendid. We'll host the race. That's how I see it. I can't see. I know there's more probably to it, but in terms of a simplistic point of view, that's how it feels like it should work.
It is, though. It's also more the bigger problem is the logistics, because you've then got to plan into the calendar. How are you going to ship the freight there? What do you need to get the freight there? And that's the bigger thing, because to be honest, you could sell tickets a week before the event, and odds on you'll get a decent number of fans there. The bigger problem is making sure all the drivers get there, but most importantly, not just the cars, but Formula E's equipment themselves. It's, to put into some context, I think I mentioned it yesterday, the way they've managed to make this test happen is by 12 lorries between them doing 37 trips between Friday to Monday from Valencia to Madrid. That's the level it's taken just to make this happen, and there are still things arriving to this day. Not everything's here yet. So that's the really, really big thing. So I get what you're saying, and I get fans' frustrations, and I was one of them who's frustrated. But having sat down with Jeff and explained the reasoning why, it does make a lot of sense, because there is so much behind putting a race on. I know a lot more than perhaps most people realise, and it's because we don't have to think about what happens to put a race on. We just think about watching the race and enjoying it.
Yeah, and I'll come to
there is so much more than that.
Yeah, I'll come to Jasmine on that, because I praised Alberto right afterwards, after the interview, because I said it showed good leadership, right? That they weren't just going to chuck something in that 2-month gap, right? To please us, effectively. They thought, you know what, it's not the right thing to do. We'll work on it a bit more and maybe solidify it for next season. And I think, Jasmine, that's probably a sensible way of looking at things.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think at the end of the day, we'd all rather an event that's put on well and nothing goes wrong, it's all smooth sailing, even if it means we kind of miss out. And it's such a double-edged sword for the series as well. I think they kind of can't win, because if they rush and try and fill the gap with something and it is kind of rubbish, then they're going to get loads of flack for it. And then if they don't, fans are still unhappy. But I think Nick's totally right. Like, there is so much that goes into putting, hosting a race. It's the amount of politics alone before we even get into logistics and everything. The politics of hosting, it's crazy, both within the racing series and then dealing with the countries and the counties and whatever particular city and municipality they host it in. There's so many little layers, and I think, like Nick said, it's something we don't really think about, how complicated this is. And I totally agree that it's not worth cramming something in for the sake of it. It's worth, just hoping for next year and trying to sort something out. And planning it all well in advance, because you don't want a bad event in the end that, you know, it all goes wrong or whatever and fans are asking for their money back. It is a tricky situation for the series though, totally. And I feel for them because you know, dealt the card and it's something that it's not their fault, you know. It's if they're not hosting because of an election, what are you meant to do in that situation?
And the big thing as well is also, you know, not just in racing, it's safety. And I think, as we all know, when we try and do something really quickly at the last minute, a last minute job, mistakes are made more often than not.
Absolutely.
With a Formula E race, whether that be a street circuit or a permanent, you know, safety is paramount, and making sure the safety is in place for drivers, fans, the teams, everyone. You know, that's a long job. It's not a job you can just do in rapid fashion. You know, I think what FIA has done with Panama is extraordinary. It's unbelievable what they've done, and you know, it's one of their greatest achievements as a championship. Obviously, under such horrible circumstances as well, but FIA has risen and gone above and beyond. This is just a test. There is so much more that goes through a race. So
yeah,
it's a really interesting one. Of course, I guess odds on we'll be discussing the exact same thing in 12 months' time.
Yep.
If there's a TBD next year that happens to not happen.
Probably always. When has there not been a TBD on the calendar? When has there not been one?
It's tradition at this point.
But no, Nick, I've loved the extended Nick at 9 here, or Nick at 9. It's 9 o'clock now. It's been a good one.
It's been like a debate.
It's been a
Nick at 9 / 10.
Nick at 9 at 10. It's actually 9 o'clock in the UK now, so we've actually hit Nick at 9
on the dot.
On the
actually,
dot.
yeah,
on the dot.
But thank you.
No, you're welcome. Perfect time to end.
Actually, before we go, what was your McDonald's order?
So no, it's a good point. So yeah, it's different. So yesterday it was these 20 like little Southern chicken bites with a double quarter pounder and cheese, obviously a large fries, a bottle of water for balance, and also a Milky Bar McFlurry, because McFlurry, Spain has the best McDonald's in the world. I will fight anybody on that. We can have an argument.
Yeah.
It's the best in the world. And then
Agree.
today
I'd never
25 nuggets, but with wedges. And water for balance and a Milky Bar McFlurry. That's the only thing. Well, the water and the Milky Bar McFlurry is the only like thing that stayed the same because, well, elite combo. And plus, I've had no water today, so.
There we go. So what was it? What was it? Same again as what you had yesterday. Hashtag same order. What was it? What was it last year? We had cake, didn't we? We got cake from the cake.
Yeah.
That was good.
I was gonna say I'd never had a McDonald's in Spain until.
Chat. What is your McDonald's order? Put it in chat. What is your McDonald's order? That's what we're gonna ask every fan now that comes on. What is their McDonald's order? That is it. What is the McDonald's order? So exclamation mark Discord if you want to come on and talk about your McDonald's order. Nick, we'll let you go, and I know we're going to speak to the boys in a bit, but so tell them to come on whenever they're ready. Whenever you get back.
We're currently in the petrol station. Pico's buying a bottle of Fanta.
No surprises there then. All right.
And we have a 45-minute drive. But.
Oh, okay. Well, you might not make the show then, unless you want to do it from the car. Jack Smith might want to do it from the car and do it on speakerphone.
Okay.
If they want to do it. But if not, no props. Right. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Cool.
Right. Thank you very much. See you later.
Guys. See you later.
Bye.
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 What a legend Nick is, eh? What a legend. Right. Exclamation mark Discord though. It's a proper thing. Eat some tapas, people. 100% right says. Eat some tapas. Terrible. Boys away, right? What? Just backed off. Terrible. We only had
I was gonna say you can't go wrong with a Spanish McDonald's. I feel like you need to have it at least once just to say you've done it, and then go have some paella or something like that. You know, a Spanish McDonald's is quite good. I loved our one we had on the first night we got to Valencia last year.
Yeah.
I think I had like that weird, like a chicken burger thing with loads of onion in it, but it was like really good. And they sell beer at McDonald's, which is incredible as well.
Yeah. Chris says, easy chicken wrap of the day, bacon, mayo, chicken, plus cheese, and a large Coke.
Ooh.
And a large Coke. I've brought Lou. Lou is currently muted, but I brought Lou into the chat. Lou, welcome to the FE Bar. I hope you're there. I thank you for waiting. I know you've been in there for a long time, and I'm hoping you unmute soon, but I know you're in chat as well. A whopper, Lou has put in chat.
So Burger King. so I know you're there, Luke. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
There we go. Hello. Welcome to the FE bar. We spoke yesterday, thinking maybe not a great day for Kiro. Today, brilliant.
Yeah, I'm still bossing a little bit about it, but it feels a bit hypocritical after yesterday, what I said. But,
but it's positive signs that maybe it might be good at the beginning.
hopefully, but still, also have to be realistic. It's just testing, but at least it's good for the vibe, it's good for the atmosphere, it's good for the moral of the team also.
No, agreed. Jasmine, anything to ask?
I'm so sorry, I didn't hear that.
He said it was good for the morale. Good for the morale.
Yeah.
Of the
Yes.
team.
Agree. It was. I'm one of those people that's like every testing session, whatever. I'm like, it doesn't mean anything until it's a team that I kind of want to see do well. I'm like, this means everything. This is great. This is the best.
Yeah, that was me today.
Yeah.
Such a hypocrite.
Is it important also that Beckman did well today? It wasn't just Dan, right? Dan obviously 2 and 3, but
true.
Beckman in P4. You know, you think actually, okay, there might be some merit to him getting the seat.
I looked at the test today with when they were doing their times, and like in the first session when they were both on track doing their 350 laps,
Mm-hmm.
there was like 7/10 of a difference.
Yep.
And in the second session when they both were on track doing their 350s, there was like 4/10 of a difference.
Yep.
And in the end, it got down to 1/10, but then didn't really do a full lap anymore.
Yeah, but 1/10, you take a 1/10 difference between your teammate, I think.
No. Yeah, but when they were on track at the same time, it was a bit more than 1/10. But it still is good, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever that gap is, the 1/10, 4/10, that's decent, I think. And as I said yesterday, I'm now looking at times, and we still don't know exactly what they're trying to do, because also Beckman's 350s were a little bit more clustered and Dan's were more spread out over the whole session, so they were trying different things. So we're comparing times, but we don't actually know that much in a way.
Yeah, of course. If this continues, so if the form continues, does that raise expectations level for you going into Sao Paulo?
Yeah, I have to tell myself today it's just testing and don't get too excited, because let's be realistic, they have an old Porsche drivetrain, so it's not going to be this level when we're at Sao Paulo. You know, still, if they get into the points, it's very good.
Yeah, I don't know what you think, Jasmine, but I know it's the old powertrain, but while everyone's getting used to the new one, it could be a perfect opportunity for Kiro to steal some points at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they could have quite a strong start because they've got some familiarity with that. You know, they're not kind of wading in with a complete unknown. It's sort of tried and tested. But I do think they're going to be interesting to watch as the season goes on. Like, maybe they get out developed to a degree, kind of with the the more technical aspects and things. And I think they're going to be my one to watch throughout the whole year. I think they're going to be my special team that I kind of focus in on, and I wouldn't mind seeing them do quite well. But yeah, I definitely think there are actually benefits to having an ordered powertrain. There's less complete uncertainties getting thrown your way. That they kind of have an idea of how things will work, and while that won't always be the best thing, there's reliability there, which in Formula E of all series, I think reliability is quite a strong point, because we've seen so many championship leads and stuff get thrown away from a crash or whatever. So yeah, I think maybe if they keep it clean and just everything is plain sailing for them, they could end quite strongly in the standings this year.
Yeah, the only frustrating thing for me, Lou, I think it's the same frustration for you, is because they're not signed. Getting media out of Kiro is next to impossible, right? Because no one, I haven't seen anyone, any publication, have any Kiro articles. They've all spoke to Zane, they've all spoken to Taylor. We have 2. That's the November issue of the Formula Rezone magazine, right? Will be those two. But getting something out of Kiro has been a nightmare. Emailing them, just bouncing, it's just terrible. And especially if they're doing quite well, there's a story there, and it's a shame for fans like yourself that no one's really been able to explore the story.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, would have been better for their PR, I think, if they had it announced, even if it was just then announced, and say the second seat is open or something like that. And yeah, that's true. Would have been a lot better to have that, but they are active on socials. They're sharing their own things. So hopefully that they will still be somewhere available.
Yeah, I hope very soon, because there seems to be a small good news story emerging around Kiro. I couldn't say it for a second. I was going to go back to Cairo for a second.
Kiro. Yeah, but also what Jasmine said. It looks like I was a little bit afraid before the test started that with everything being so late for them, their preparation would be bad. So that it would be a problematic test like they had last year. It was a disastrous test. Yeah. And it doesn't seem the case to be. So that's actually indeed positive for the beginning of the season, that they don't seem to be struggling with the preparation at least. So that's hopeful.
Hopeful indeed. Lou, thank you so much for coming on. Means the world as always.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, before you go, what's your McDonald's order?
Walk out, go to the Burger King.
Walk out, go to be fair, I do like a good Burger King, especially on the app, right? So I don't know if you've got the app, right? But when I see we got the app in the UK, and you get the offers, right? And you get 2 Whopper meals for a tenner, and you're like, I can't, but I know I can. And you're like,
that's very cheap.
I can't turn down 2 Whoppers for a tenner. 2 Whopper meals as well, 2 drinks, 2 portions of chips, brilliant.
Wow.
Normally,
I've never had a Whopper.
You've never had a Whopper?
Don't have it.
No, never in my life. Never had a Big Mac either, actually.
Really?
No.
So does that mean I have to take you to a Burger King and a McDonald's to give you to try a Big Mac and a Whopper then? Is that what you're asking? Is that No. No, it's not.
A blind taste test could be fun.
A blind taste test could be fun. No. I would say you're missing out, but you're probably not.
Yeah, I think I'm alright actually.
Oh, Lou, thank you so much for coming on.
Nice evening.
No worries. No worries. Right. We did have Blake and we did have Sam, but unfortunately they've left the waiting room. So if you want to come on and you're here, and if you want to come on and have any talk, if not, we're past 9, so the show was 8 till 9, but we did have a very extended Nick at 9. So I did know there was a couple of people in the chat. So if you want to come back, me and Jasmine, otherwise we'll talk for a couple of minutes, and then we'll wrap up the show, and we'll be back tomorrow to find out what happens in day 3 of Formula retesting.
Crunch day.
I think it's an important day. Let's go back to that.
Yeah.
To end where, because you were with me in Valencia, and I went hard on the teams last year with the attack charge, because they were all very, very thinking about the sporting and not thinking about the technological side of things. And I still stand by that technological side of things, because that's what this series was. I think it has to be successful tomorrow. I think if it is a failure tomorrow and it gets just cancelled altogether, then for me, Formula E has failed, right? It's not being fit for purpose at that present point. Is that a too harsh saying, or is that fair?
I think it's tough. I think that's a little harsh, just because I do agree that definitely that is the series DNA, right? Is to develop technology that we can use on road cars. And I think perhaps maybe that was more its DNA towards the start. I think now it has developed into a pretty decent racing series, and we enjoy how different it is from F1 and how different it is from any other type of racing with that whole peloton style and all of that. It's good fun, it's unpredictable, and I think the attack charge is another element of unpredictability, which is quite exciting. But I do agree that like serious questions need to be asked if it doesn't take off, because the amount of time, resources, money, like investment that's gone into trying to develop this technology, if it doesn't work and it's just completely dead in the water, then it's like, what was that all for? And where did it go wrong? How could we not, something that's been in the pipeline for so long, how have we not managed to bring that to fruition? And I think there needs to be a bit of introspection from this series to kind of work out why hasn't this worked? Why has it gone wrong?
No, 100%, because you need to deep dive into how this has gone wrong, because if we are trying to bring technology to the road and we fail to bring technology to the road, why hasn't that happened? Now, Formula E it's not Formula E, we have to get this very clear. Formula E aren't the ones doing this technology. It was Williams Advanced Engineering and so forth, but that's who Formula E have employed to do the job, right? And if they haven't been able to do the job, then that's where the questions have to be asked, right? And so forth. Sam has popped back in, actually, so good news. We'll get Sam in. Sam, you're in. Thank you for rejoining the waiting room. Welcome back to the FE Bar. What would you like to talk about?
So what I've recently, I did like a little summary of today's thing for myself, because it's nice to catch up, and I've just noticed with Cassidy having the problem today, and also Buemi having the issue yesterday in the pits, I can only recall these Jaguar having these sorts of issues publicly so far. And could this potentially be the fall from the peak for them as a manufacturer?
It could be. It could well be. And that's the beauty of starting these new powertrain cycles, is you don't know. And when we spoke to Mitch Evans, right, back in March, which is again another magazine issue, and I said to him, I know you've been tired of the bridesmaids, but was last season the last chance? Because you knew going into this season, I've got the car, right? I have the car to win the title, right? But you going into this season, you don't know. You don't know. DS could be the powerhouse, right? Maserati might have somehow conquered the DS powertrain and become the powerhouse. Or Nissan and McLaren are there. And then all of a sudden your title hopes have gone, and that thing you've been fighting for ages is gone. It was like, I get your point, but I'm not looking at it like that. And I was like, yeah, that's because you're scared. Because you know that effectively it's a free-for-all. Basically, it's a fresh reset. We've hit the reset button, and if Jaguar are struggling reliability issues, it could be an issue going into the first couple races of the season.
Yeah, I mean, the common assumption was that for like a evolution upgrade, so the homologation cycles, unless it's like a full generational leap, like say to Gen 4, the assumption typically, and I've heard through all the mumbling throughout the community, is that the assumption would be that Jaguar, Porsche would be there and the others would potentially still catch up, or the field would close. But so far, as like I say, if Jaguar are obviously trying an upgraded powertrain and they're using new techniques or new methods of, building and using new materials, and it's not working, as like a gamble to try and get a leap on the others, could this backfire quite badly? And actually, I'm not obviously trying to jump ahead because it's just testing.
Yes.
But could it drag them quite a bit down the order, given that likes of like Mahindra have got a lot to gain?
Yeah, I like you, Sam. You think like me, like trying to find those little conundrums in the little bit of running that we've had so far. I'll bring Jasmine in on this too, because Jasmine, what do you think? I'll just come straight to you now, and then I'll add on.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of going back to what you were saying about Jaguar, I do think maybe that is their time in the sun's up. I mean, again, we're reading into like very little into very little running, but that's what testing's all about, right? Is coming up with all these crazy theories and then being completely wrong on the first race of the season. But it is interesting that, I mean, obviously they didn't have that first session, but we've had a couple of different sessions now. We've had a couple of different front runners, and it's not been a Jaguar powertrain car. So have they kind of, are they maybe middling around in the third fastest? Are we going to be looking at the Penske's? I think possibly. I think it's Porsche are up there. I don't think we need to worry about Porsche. Maybe not necessarily the Porsche team, but the Porsche powertrain is looking very good. But I think we could see some switch arounds with the second fastest. It might be that one race is, it's the DS Penske's. The next race we're looking at Jaguar come up suddenly, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not going into this one thinking this is Mitch Evans' year. I'll be delighted if it is, but I'm not coming into it thinking he's got this in the bag.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting, definitely. And obviously we know how much it matters as well to Jaguar Land Rover that they do well in this racing series. So whether we see some movement, if it's a total washout for them, I don't know. But yeah.
It is too early to panic, obviously. We can't, alarm bells shouldn't be ringing just yet. Cassidy was 7th quickest, which is still only 2 tenths off. So we've just owed under 2 tenths off maximum income, which in Formula E is a lot. The grid is separated, 2 tenths could be 10th in Sao Paulo, for example, 10th or 11th. So, and missing out on the jewels, right? So that could easily be a factor. But yeah, you're right. Going back to your point, because you're expecting Gen 3 Evo to be a evolution, not a revolution. Whereas Gen 4 is the revolution. So you'd expect them to still be high. However, as we've seen in Formula 1 this season, Red Bull started well, and yes, it's an evolution of what happened last season, but then we've seen Ferrari, McLaren, and so forth, Mercedes even a little tiny bits in areas, catch up and pose a threat to Red Bull. And, it hasn't been easy for them this season, and it might, last season the main competitor was Porsche for Jaguar. This season it may not just be Porsche, right? So therefore, if they're not at their A game, then it doesn't take much in Formula E to slip from 1st down to 8th or 9th consistently and be fighting for the lower echelons of the points. And that's the worry. And you're right. They've only done 128 laps, the lowest of anybody so far, right? Going into Sao Paulo, they need to get those numbers up, but everybody else has got the same chance to get their numbers up. So that I feel like they're already playing catch up, and we've seen Envision, even though Envision might help them with 204 in total, Seb 125, but they haven't had it plain sailing either. Alarms coming up on Sebastian Buemi's steering wheel yesterday, and Robin really hasn't got it together for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure. The first day he only ran at 300, but he's run at 350 today. A 129.3 was the best that he could do. And even Mitch Evans, I'm looking at Mitch Evans, he did a 350 lap, and that was only in the 130.7, but I don't know what the lap was like, so it might have been a poor lap. So, you can't read too much into it. But I think Jaguar are slowly one of those to watch over the next couple of days. If tomorrow they're at the top, you breathe. Yeah. You think, okay, cool, maybe not too bad then. But if they're not there tomorrow, then you're like, okay, have Jaguar slip.
There is an indication. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just ad-libbing. You go.
That's all right. I think if we start to see this, because obviously yesterday with the penalty, sure that they are playing a bit of catch up. Their shakedown was this morning effectively, as an equivalent. So potentially, because I've heard like Nissan could be strong, but again, we can hear any team. We've heard good things come out of Mahindra. We've heard good things even about Lola and Yamaha, and they're a complete new entity effectively in terms of manufacturing a powertrain. Yes. So how seriously can we take those whisperings? So I guess the proof will be in the pudding in terms of the lap count and consistency, I guess. And yes, the reliability so far, at least for Jag, is not great, but we don't know what happened in the private manufacture testing, so could have gone great there, and only now they're having issues for whatever reason. So
the problem is they may have gone great for them in the private manufacture test, but they're by themselves. It's only when you get all together when you see
that's true. The eyes
how
of the
your
world,
homework is, how your homework's done. Yeah. You think your homework's good, and then you see mates homeworking, and oh my god, that's not what I did. That's not. which was probably like my homework back in the day. But no, Sam, thank you so much for coming on, though. It's a really great point, and it's an interesting topic to talk about for the remainder of the session, I think.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
No, more than welcome. Thank you so much. There we go. Yeah, it's interesting with Jaguar, right? Alarm bells shouldn't be ringing, Jasmine, right? They shouldn't be ringing, but cause for concern may start to come alive if, again, they're not where they want to be, not hitting the top of the timesheets come Friday.
Yeah, totally agree. I think take it with a pinch of salt now. But by the end of the testing, maybe not alarm bells ringing, but eyebrows definitely raised, I think. And they're going to have a busy couple of weeks before they get, before we go to the first race. Maybe tomorrow they absolutely knock it out of the park, and it really is that they are just,
and then we're
basically one test session behind everyone, and then we're both out of a job because we've just
and we're basically we're slamming the table. We're slamming the table, and it's like, oh, no testing means nothing, and everyone says this, and you're just trying to, it's like I'm crying out loud. But it's fine. Yeah. This is the whole point. The whole point of these shows and the whole point of talking about it is to try and see. It's like a scatter graph, right? And try and see if you can find a trend, right? How many more educational things can I say in this this section?
Exactly. It's like, when you've got a detective and they've got all the different pictures. That scene in Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
The red lines.
Oh, the red lines.
Yeah, the red strings.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's where we're like trying to plot it all together.
That's right now. Just like,
he was
completely crazed.
He was, but that's what it's supposed to be, because that's what we want. That's what otherwise, what are we going to talk about for 4 weeks?
We love testing.
What are we going to talk about for 4 weeks until Sao Paulo? Nothing. If we don't dig into these stories. But the only story, just before we leave in a couple of minutes' time, it was announced a bit earlier. Lola are finally a new team, which I got very confused about when they announced, because they have brought the apt license. So effectively, Lola is the team now, and apt is just the technical partnership. So it's not apt Lola, like apt were the main team. It's now like Lola is the team. So Lola is the team. So that's the most, I would say, important thing. Although I'm keeping my eye on them, because again, 184 laps, the third worst, or the worst of everybody who has started, and I don't know why, but also very interested to see how Zane Maloney does going into. I think that'll be a story to see, because obviously with these F2 drivers coming in, obviously we've got Taylor, and then we've got Maloney, and obviously Jack Crawford today has been announced as the reserve driver for Andretti. So I think on a final point in terms of these rookies, I think it's exciting to see what Maloney can do.
Yeah, I think across, Formula E and F1, we're just seeing so many great opportunities for rookie drivers at the moment, which is just always so nice to see fresh talent coming up and giving people a different, an opportunity. And Zayn, I personally really like, because he's representing the Caribbean, and I've got Caribbean heritage, and it's just so exciting to see someone from that background racing. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how he does, for sure.
Awesome. Jasmine, it's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed your day.
Thank you, I did. You'll be seeing me soon, hopefully, if you decide to bring me back.
Yeah.
I'd say let's take a vote, but I don't want to know if people did want me back.
No, we'll keep that. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they've loved you. Give some love to Jasmine in the chat. There we go, before we go. But that's it from us for another day. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with Aisha, who we've met before, talking through all the events that happens tomorrow, and we'll see what interviews we have lined up and in store for you tomorrow. Mr. Jack Pickering will be, he's got a busy day tomorrow. His last day at the track, sadly, because of all the changes. And obviously Friday wasn't supposed to be a test, so it's our last day for Mr. Pickering at test. So he's got a lot of work to do and not a lot of time to do it. But good luck to him, and we know he'll smash it. Godspeed indeed. Thank you so much for watching the FE Bar. I've been Jack George Maynard. This has been Formula Rezone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Night.
You're back up live here on JBMotorsports, as well as we get ready for the final 25 minutes of this session. So far, is it 25? Yeah, 25 coming up. Pascal Wehrlein on top then on a 1:27.769, fastest time so far this test. His teammate Antonio Felix da Costa is in second on a 1:28.043. Maximilian Gunther in third, 1:28.070. Then Jake Dennis is fourth. Norman Nato fifth. Oliver Rowland is sixth, with Jean-Eric Verne 7th, Dan Ticktum 8th, Stoffel van Dorn 9th, and Jake Dennis rounding out the top 10 for Andretti. His teammate Nico Muller alongside him in 11th. David Bettman is in 12th. Mitch Evans 13th, Eduardo Mortar 14th, Lucas de Grassis 15th, Zane Maloney in 16th. Then we get Robin Fry in 17th, Taylor Barnard 18th, Sebastian Buemi 19th, Nick Cassidy 20th, Nick de Vries 21st, and Sam Bird down in 22nd position as well. We've had a lap time deleted for track limits for Antonio Felix da Costa as well. Jack Pickering is going to join us soon, trackside over here at Harama, and we'll be seeing more data. He's taken us out to the exterior of the circuit to get all the latest news, views and opinions. So can't wait to see what he's going to say when he gets out of here. Just in Formula One news, Jenny Gow has just tweeted that the F1 drivers speak out. I don't know what this is about. This is a bit of breaking news, I suppose. For Formula One, their GPDA post has come through, and this is quite entertaining. Let me just read it in full. So this is Formula One and the Grand Prix Drivers Association. Their post says, it's GPDA statement regarding driver misconduct. Oh dear. As is the case with every sport, competitors must abide by the referee's decision, whether they like it or not. Indeed, whether they agree with it or not. That is how sports work. The drivers, our members, are no different and fully understand that. Our members are professional drivers racing in Formula One, the pinnacle of international motorsport. They are the gladiators, and every racing weekend they put on a great show for the fans. With regards to swearing, there is a difference between swearing intended to insult others and more casual swearing, such as you might use to describe bad weather or indeed an inanimate object such as a Formula One car or a driving situation. We urge the FIA president to also consider his own tone and language when talking to our member drivers and indeed about them, whether in a public forum or otherwise. Further, our members are adults. They do not need to be given instructions via the media about matters as trivial as the wearing of jewellery and underpants. GPDA has on countless occasions expressed its view that driver monetary fines are not appropriate for our sport. For the past 3 years, we have called upon the FIA president to share the details and strategy regarding how the FIA's financial fines are allocated and where the funds are spent. We have also relayed our concerns about the negative image financial fines bring to the sport. We once again request that the FIA president provide the financial transparency and direct open dialogue with us. Oh dear. All stakeholders, FIA, F1, the teams and the GPDA should jointly determine how and where the money is spent for the benefit of our sport. The GPDA wishes to collaborate in a constructive way with all the stakeholders, including the FIA president, in order to promote our great sport for the benefit of everyone who works in it, pays for it, watches it and indeed loves it. We are playing our part. Best regards, the directors and chairman of the GPDA on behalf of the Grand Prix drivers. Hashtag Racing United for our safety, our sport, our fans. Oh dear. So it looks like in Formula One it's all starting to blow up. And of course the FIA president, monetary fines will also count here in Formula E and in other championships such as World Endurance Championship, World Rally Championship, pretty much anything that has got FIA names on it as well. So it doesn't look like it's going to be the easiest of times, unfortunately, for Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the FIA president. We will continue to watch his career with great interest to see exactly what he'll end up doing going forward. That's going to be quite the entertainment battle coming up. I'm looking forward to it. Meantime, select drivers are out there on the circuit with 20 minutes to go. Just waiting on Jack to get into the box as well to give us his camera stats. Give me 2 minutes while I get to the top of the hill. No worries, Jack. Just reading that stat as well. He'll join us and then we'll pop trackside. We've got our cameras all set up, ready for him to join there. Take a quick look at the blog and see what's happening over there in terms of if we've missed anything. Yeah, I thought the live blog needs refreshing before we jump on it and take a look. Reminder that the first race is going to be in Sao Paulo, Brazil in a month's time. It's also Pico's last day at the track. And later on, you can join us for the simulation race. That gets underway at the top of the hour at the next session. So 2 p.m. Central European Time, 1 p.m. GMT. You can join us for all that action as well here on JBMotorsports, YouTube and Twitch. Pico's going to give us the start, and then he's going to go off and interview Jamie Chadwick. Speaking of Pico, he's just got into the box. We'll give him a second to get set up and then get his Wi-Fi in, and we'll then say hello to him as well. But yeah, all looking good so far. I can hear him moving around. I think you can as well back at home. I think he's at the top of the hill today, so I believe that's near at turn 3 and 8, so in that little section behind as well to come into it. As we see, there he is. He's here. He's ready. Hello, Jack. How are you doing out there?
Hi, Josh. Very good morning to you guys back at home. I've walked up the hill. I've got here eventually, and you can just see behind me there. That's the Dunlop Bridge. All old school circuits have it. That's why you know this is a good circuit. We are at the top of the hill. I'm hoping that you'll see that stop coming past there, followed by I think that was Seb Buemi. And you come over the top. It's completely blind. You come into this lovely little section. I've got 2 sections to show you while I'm up here.
Lovely.
Because I'm not doing the hill again. Well, I will do to get my car later. But this is a fantastic point because we saw when I was up here on Tuesday that the rise up into up from turn 5 towards this is we got turn 6 is just behind the 50-meter marker board over there. So it's such a fast flowing track, which is why this isn't really a great Formula E circuit, but it's a fantastic circuit to drive for definitely. The way they just come over the top, this is Nico Muller and Jake Dennis, the 2 Andretti's going past there. It's been a rather uneventful morning, so I'm not sure how much you've actually had to wrap up, Josh.
Not much at all. Barely anything's happened. We'll just get you the right way. There we go. Barely anything's happened.
I will say though that it's looking very competitive. It looks like potentially the most competitive Formula E season that I can remember. I think that based on testing, which is completely irrelevant for Formula E, as we've seen in the past, this could the running order could be completely jumbled when we get to Sao Paulo for race 1. So it looks very exciting. I'm now going to take you across this is the car park. So you've actually got all the cars behind me here, but I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm just going to walk across because you come into turn 6 here, and then it feeds back out. You got a hairpin, and then you start the descent, which is really good. So we're now coming over to turn 8. I believe. You've got the track map in front of you, so you might reckon. So it's the little left-hander here that before you go down the hill, and it really catches people out, especially down at turn 9, the far one in the distance down there. And actually, when I was walking up, Robin Frines had a little excursion into the gravel. Well, I think it was Frines. I thought I saw the number 4. It was definitely an Envision. So if it wasn't Robin and it was Seb, I apologise. But this, I think this just shows how great a circuit is. And the thing is, you won't the camera angles won't be able to do it justice. How actually steep this is. It doesn't actually look too steep as Jaguar goes through, but yeah, it's a fantastic part of the circuit. And the rest of the week, I've done all from down there. So I thought, at least for my last day, because I'm going home this evening, I thought I'd bring you up the hill and show you the top end of the circuit.
It looks absolutely fantastic, and we can just about see the elevation change with the cars sort of breaking downhill into that zone. How narrow is it? Because we've got this simulation race later where they are going to, as you said earlier, they're going to go off single file on the line, but then they will, someone's always going to try and do some overtakes, do some racing, and just test it all out. Can we see that properly later? Is it too narrow, though?
Yes, so the main overtaking zone will be into turn 1. But the thing is, it depends on when people are going to be in attack mode. And this is something that has been spoken about a huge amount this week, is that attack mode this year is really going to mean something. The last 2 years, we've seen people take attack mode and then just sit behind people, try and get it out the way. This year, it's going to make one hell of a difference because you go from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive, and so you really get the punch out the corner. So actually, in Sao Paulo, people who take attack mode, you are going to see them cruise past maybe even 4 or 5 cars on that straight up to the chicane.
That's going to be madness as well. I'm going to be looking forward to that later. We'll see it on the driver track, and you've got the camera at the start line. Little interesting news for you, by the way. David Beckman has just gone fastest on a 1:27.755, 8,000 quicker than Verline.
Wow, yes. This is one thing that we've been talking about. Hero Race actually looked really competitive. We thought with a 2-year-old powertrain, it might not be the one. I've speculated on the FE bar that they will start quickly, a bit like in MotoGP, when you see at the start of the season the year-old Ducatis have a better start to the season. Like the year Bastianini was fighting for the title on the Gresini, he had a mega start to the season, and then once the GP, I think it was the 20, that was 23.
23, yeah.
When Bagnaia kicked in on the GP23, and he properly went on a run of it and went on to win the title. And so I reckon that might be what happens with Hero Race. They might start exceptionally well, and then maybe after that 2-month break between Jeddah and Miami, they might fall off of it, and by the end of the season, it would not surprise me if they are 21st and 22nd.
McLaren have finally improved. Barnard's gone into 9th on a 1:28.610. Sam Bird's gone up from last to 14th, 1:29.114 as well. So they've started to improve out there. Worst team on the grid then, Jack? Who's really struggling in this test?
Well, the thing is, I at this moment I do not know who to call P11 in the Team Championship. Right now, I've genuinely got no idea. But I'd say the ones that are, struggling more compared to where we expect them to be, it might be Jaguar.
Ooh.
The Jaguar powertrain, it looks like that they're not finding the leaps and bounds that the likes of the Mahindra powertrain, that Nissan have done, that the Stellantis powertrains. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get to Sao Paulo and the Jags are sort of mid-pack. I don't think they're going to be right at the back of the field, but they might be a bit out of position to what we've been used to the last few years. Genuinely, I think this could genuinely be like when F1 went from 2008 to 2009, when McLaren and Ferrari got it wrong, and then the resurgence of Brawn and Red Bull. Genuinely, I think this could really be a topsy-turvy season.
Did Jaguar benefit then a lot last year with the Peloton style racing because they were able to sort of not completely go flat out? They could save their battery and sort of pick their way through the field. Do you reckon this was a problem that we had last year but just never spotted it because of the racing?
Potentially. I will say, though, that Nick Cassidy was has always been fantastic at the peloton races. Ever since Portland, when he was in the Envision and he won that one, it just seems to be that whenever there's been a peloton race, in Berlin he was in 21st place halfway through that the race that he won, and so. And the thing is, I genuinely think that we are going to have less peloton style races. The front wings look sturdier. I think somewhere like Jeddah, we're definitely going to have something like that. But through some of the other races, it's definitely going to be a reduced effect to this year, because the way that the front wing's designed so that it diverts the dirty air in different directions.
I don't suppose you've heard any more on this. We spoke yesterday about the TV crew, but now it's emerged that there's going to be some new possible free-to-air in the UK. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard much about that. I have heard that some things might be happening. Honestly, for me, if they keep it on TNT and then they just do highlights on ITV or Channel 5 or Quest or whatever, I think that would be great. I think that's probably the right way for Formula E to go, because then they get the revenue from TNT, but they've also got eyeballs watching shorter, condensed package.
Yeah,
and might draw people in, because one thing that I know from quite a lot of people who I know that like Formula E, they were complaining of the fact that they couldn't watch it last year. So whatever's happening, it sounds kind of promising.
Porsche's come out on the circuit now as well. They're all coming out with 8 minutes to go. Envision. I think we've heard two of your interviews. I wasn't in the comms box when they aired, though, so we're playing them this afternoon after the race, before we head back to, I believe, Mazzano Race 2 from last year. Envision. They are having a little bit of a tricky time out there. They very much are just seeing this as a test. They think they're happy with where they're going to go, but they've constantly been down at the bottom of the timesheets.
Yeah, well, you will have seen yesterday that McLaren and Maserati, they did not set representative times. And I spoke to the Maserati boys afterwards. They were fully focusing on race runs. They weren't bothering doing anything at full power mode, which is what all the other 18 drivers did. So I don't think it's anything too much to worry about. Everyone's got their own different plans for different sessions. The only kind of representative one that we're going to see is the mock race this afternoon, where everyone gets to be out on track doing these races, and we might get a little bit of a better idea. But even then, I think they're going to go out in pit lane order. So I think it'll be Jag at the front and Kiro at the back. But because I assume they're all going to leave pit lane at the same time, to do numbers up 2 by 2. But yeah, that's something that we're not sure what's going to happen there.
We're slightly worried because this is a big one for attack charge, isn't it? This is the final test. How confident does everyone feel? Because if it doesn't work, we're in big trouble going into the first race.
Yeah, this is very much a do or die moment for attack mode. It was supposed to come in season 9, it was then supposed to come in season 10, then halfway through season 10, and then it's season 11, and the thing is, if they don't bring it in now, there isn't really motive to bring it in for the rest of the season. I understand that if it goes well today, it will be brought in at double header races.
Oh.
So it won't be in Sao Paulo or Mexico City, but we will see it. Is the first one after that Jeddah?
Yeah, Jeddah's a double. Yeah.
So we'll see it in Jeddah. They will probably continue to do some testing. If it goes well here, they'll probably do some testing in the shakedowns in Mexico City and Brazil, like they were aiming to do last season. But yeah. There's a lot resting on this mock race this afternoon.
It's going to be quite fun as well, and they will try that pit stop. It's going to be 60 seconds inside the pit lane, and I think there's a pit window, isn't there, about 90 seconds that they have to keep an eye on, so it's going to be quite entertaining. Yeah. What's got the rest of the day for you then as well, Jack? What have you got? Because on your last day here, wrapping up everything before you fly back.
Yeah. So I will be speaking to a couple of the drivers that take part in tomorrow's women's test. I'll be speaking to Jamie Chadwick and Alice Powell, which I'm very excited about. We've also got the press conferences that Formula E put on. So I've forgotten who's in today's press conference, but there's one for the teams, one for the drivers, and then afterwards Alberto Longo's doing a press conference where he'll probably speak about coming to Jarama and how all that came about. So yeah, and I believe they will be scattered in and around the FE bar tonight and tomorrow.
That's going to be fun, and we'll try and get them on as well during the women's test tomorrow afternoon, which is going to be, well, we've got test session 5 this afternoon, which is the race. Then we've got test session 6. Test session 7 is going to be the women's test. So we'll still cover that and see everything as well out there and get some reviews and opinions, and hopefully as well be able to play some of the Grid Network's Women in Motorsports show that's going to be on from last week, which previewed the test as well. Jack, one final question, as we've just seen Nick Cassidy move up to 16th on a 1:29.350. Is it very, very, very early to predict a champion? Or can I just get you who's going to win in Brazil?
I'd say yes, it's very early to predict a champion, and probably the same in Brazil. What a few of us journos are doing, we've decided to write down some bold predictions for the season, and we're going to seal it in an envelope, and we're going to open it in London in July. So that's very exciting. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I think it is probably a bit too early to predict what's going to happen. I genuinely think this could be one of the closest seasons in Formula E, and I think potentially, we could have a magnificent title fight this season.
I'm really looking forward to it as well. We've got to have it good. Your final, well, I know you'll be on later during the race, but that will be after the fact. What's your thoughts on the Evo car then? What have you made of it?
I think it's fantastic. I think the thing is with the Gen 3 car, when it was released, everyone made the Dorito references because it just looked like a triangle, and then when we saw with how it raced, we got the Peloton style races, and also that front wing was sort of just fragile, really. The amount of parts that were lost throughout the races in the last 2 seasons. The fact that they've now made it a bit sturdier, and it looks a lot better. It looks a lot better, and there's like little winglets over the rear tires as well. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic evolution for the Gen 3 car, but yeah, I think the next 2 seasons will be very exciting.
Jack, thank you very much for all your trackside work this week as well, and all your contributions, of course, with the Formula E Zone and the FE bar. We will see you later on for the mock race.
Right, see you later on, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks, Jack. Bye-bye. So we are nearly all set then with the final minute of this session. My thanks to Jack
and
for
welcome
being trackside.
to the FE bar. We've had a further 6
That keeps happening. Sorry about that, everyone. The audio keeps coming back on because it's set on a hotkey. So every time I open up the system, it opens up. Sorry about that. It's final minute then of this session. And David Beckman surprising everybody, as well with Kiro being top on a 1:27.755 as well. Pascal Wehrlein second, with Antonio Felix da Costa in third. Maximilian Gunther's fourth. Jake Hughes is fifth. Mitch Evans 6th. Norman Nato is 7th. 8th for Taylor Barnard. 9th, Oliver Rowland. 10th for Jean-Eric Verne as well. 11th, Dan Tinctum. Stoffel Van Dorn in 12th. Sam Bird 13th. Jake Dennis 14th. Nico Mullers 15th. Lucas de Grassi 16th. Nick Cassidy 17th. Eduardo Mortares 18th. Zane Malone is 19th. Robin Friends 20th. Sebastian Buemi is 21st. And Nick De Vries is in 22nd position. Checkered flags out. Session is over. And the cars will do a run round and return to the pit lane. Not a bad session. Not a bad run around at all here, actually. It's been quite a interesting weekend for them all. Now the testing can stop for a little bit. And we'll go on as well for the simulation race this afternoon. That's going to be entertaining because, let me tell you something, this has got to be the hardest thing they've ever done in their life. Really has got to be. You're going in to They're going into a brand new generation, and you've got to somehow say, yeah, okay, it's going to be fine. You are going to be absolutely petrified to think if it's going to work or not. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Got interviews coming up this afternoon from Formula E Zone as well. Right now, however, before we disappear, we've got Formula E on... Oh, I can't get the full screen up. It's annoying me. Give me a second. If I can get the full screen activated, which there I can, we can take a look at the circuit. Because I want to show you what this track looks like. I really, really do, because it is fantastic. The atmosphere you get at this track as well. So we've got a lap time and some graphics, so how about that? So as the flag comes out then, let's take a look around this Harama circuit in ABB FIA Formula E. I'm trying to get my timings right. There we go. Let's take a look on board. So this is on board with the Tag Heuer Porsche, and it's downhill in towards turn 1. You can see it sort of crumples up on itself. It's very tight inside right, long loop around. Opens up, flat out. The curb and track limit sort of plays with you as we're on board with the Cairo car now. Now on board with the DS Penske. Massive rear locking downhill into turn 3, the hairpin. And then on board now with the Lola of Lucas de Grassi. It is a 1980s style circuit. Proper old school. And you can see it widens up massively. This is where the attack mode's going to be. Uphill as well, past the Dunlop Bridge. Oh, now on board with the Neo McLaren. This is where Nick just was. Where Jack Pickering was as well. And Nick Golding was giving us all these Twitter information from before. This bit for me always screams Formula 1. This is where we saw Villeneuve with that puncture and driving back to the pit lane. Then a good move up at the exit. Now on board with the Mahindra. Under the Dunlop Bridge again. So this is where we just saw Jack. Downhill braking zone. Really getting good regen of the brakes. Now on board with the Envision. And you're coming out towards the last section on the track here, so the last few corners. This is Sebastian Buemi. This is the last corner. You can see how it doubles up on a double exit. Back up, now on board with the Andretti with Jake Dennis. And we're approaching the start-finish line, but there's a Mickey Mouse chicane. That's here as well. On the main start-finish straight as well with ABB FIA. So there's a look at the Harama circuit and the new cars of an onboard. Hope you enjoyed that as well. We've concluded the morning session here. As I said, it's David Beckman who is fastest here in a fantastic time. 1:27.755. A reminder that tonight you can join us for the FE Bar on Formula E Zone's YouTube channel. That's on at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. GMT, and get your voice heard out there, your views on Formula E, what you're making of the testing and what you're thinking coming in. The FE Bar is the place to be at. That's on Formula E Zone's YouTube channel. My thanks to Jack Pickering once again. My thanks to all of you for joining us. That's the end then of the morning session. This afternoon, in 2 hours' time, we go simulation racing here at Harama as we finally find out how good these cars are going to be. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.